Yo, welcome in, Tom.
Mike.
AM.
In the PM.
Right here, HUDRadio.com. We are live from the BMW of Atlantic City Studios. We're in Mount Ephraim. They're located right off exit 37 of the Parkway, online at BMWofAtlanticCity.com. Every Wednesday night, we are brought to you by Gibson Mayer, LLC, your certified public accountant. Got me. Find them on the web, GibsonMayer.com. Tom Renone, joined by Mike Mataraki, Sean Redden, Rob Povey on the ones and twos. A lot of things we're going to get into tonight. We will go over the 53-man roster, give our projections there. We'll play a little game. That's the Eagles' 53-man roster if you're just first-timer. You know what I mean? You know what the hell we're talking about. Now you do. 53-man projected roster for the Eagles. We'll get a more or less game for the Eagles as well. So a little game on not only win-loss, but some stats. I'll toss you guys some numbers, and you tell me more or less. Real simple there. Look back at the dress rehearsal that was Game 3 and give our thoughts, because Sam Bradford right now, if you look at Game 3, he's a flat-out Hall of Famer. You know what I mean? He's with the greats of all time. He's like on the Mount Rushmore of quarterbacks for Game 3s of the preseason.
Didn't he do that in Game 3 of the preseason last year, too?
He did. He's well known for this. But our main question at hand, our poll question, you can vote on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, HUD Radio is where you can find us. Should the Phillies fire pitching coach Bob McClure? Yes or no? Real simple answer. That's brought to you by Scanzano Sports. Find them on the web, scanzanosports.com. Sean? How was your trip, Ocean City, Maryland?
It was a lot of fun. Great town. I recommend everyone should go there. It's an awesome place. I almost didn't think I was going to make it here tonight because, I was having so much fun down there at the Souls Victory Parade today.
Were you down there?
No, I didn't.
Yeah. I would have kicked you out of that. I told you how to go.
You're a fraud. Nice story.
But I'll start with you. Secrets is the best place in the world.
Absolutely.
Give him a little free
Got some
plug.
exciting news tonight, Mr. Arnone.
Well, go ahead, sir.
Got off the book with a little private message chat with Jim Gibson from Gibson Mayer LLC.
Your certified
public accountants. And I am proud to announce that Gibson Mayer will be returning for a second year as lead sponsor of Tom and Mike AM and the PM.
Real talk sells.
Give a shout out to Jim Gibson for his partnership, and looking forward to botching their name at least 30 more times over the next year.
Well, I don't botch the name, but there is supposedly some people who have. But your thoughts on firing pitching coach Bob McClure?
It's funny. I don't want to rip, but I'm going to rip eventually. It's just a situation where I was sitting there watching Jake Thompson the other night. And, he gives up a couple of early runs, and I'm starting to get real annoyed. So what do you always tell us to do? Go to the film. So I sat there, and I went through YouTube videos going back at least 3 years on Jake Thompson, watching his motion from the windup and the stretch, the pace of the delivery, the arm slot, the release point, the whole deal. And I started getting really pissed off. So I went and I looked at Aaron Nola. And I looked at Nola from Reading, from Lehigh Valley, and then earlier this year with the Phillies. And it started just to, eat away at me a little bit. So then I went to Velasquez from last year to this year. And I just started thinking about it, and I'm like, you know what? Bob McClure is really effing these guys up. And it's a situation where, for as much credit as he was given for the way the pitching staff handled themselves the first month of the season, basically since the beginning of, call it June, that whole entire staff has just been in a regression. I mean, even at the back end of the bullpen, Neris is still fantastic, but, even Gomez isn't lights out anymore. And I just started thinking about it, and I was kind of tossing some stuff back and forth with Greg Milakovic from Section 24/7 Sports by A2D, and I just feel like McClure is just tinkering way too much with these guys. And all these guys that we thought were coming up or coming in with natural talent are not only taking one step backwards, but 2 steps backwards. And I think you have to point the finger directly at the pitching coach.
Listen, with everything, if you change things, you don't want to change too much. Tinkering's okay, but you're not tinkering with too many things. Guys are going to have their style of pitching and everything like that. You just adjust to get them in the best possible spot whatever it is, on the mound or batting. You know what I mean? That's what it comes down to. You know, when hitters, you talk about, just having the barrel travel through the zone as long as possible. So wherever the footwork is, or the high leg kick, or all the other things that go on, at the end of the day, you don't want to mess with any of that stuff. You want to let guys be what they're comfortable being. But the one thing you look at is, hey, can you keep the barrel through the zone longer? And you talk about a pitcher, which I don't have as much experience with, but it'd be little things. It'd be leg kicks. It wouldn't. You're not going to try to mess with an arm slot of a guy who, from what we saw, was dealing down AAA, AA, and the whole nine.
Yeah,
So,
it's just crazy. I mean, he actually took Jake Thompson's windup and completely revamped his windup. And I understand the rationale behind it. You want to say that, if the guy's having trouble locating the strike zone, you want to take as much movement out of the delivery as possible.
Yeah, but that movement got him to
exactly.
where he is.
And that's exactly what I was. It's
a
exactly the
fine
point that I
line,
was going to make is, did they just screw with him so much that the reason that he now can't find the strike zone with any consistency is because he's just not comfortable. He's just thinking way too much about his windup or his stretch, and he's not pitching.
Well, listen, to piggyback off what you just said, if these guys think too much, you're failing.
Yeah.
And especially in baseball, which is a mental game. Like, you want to think, but you want to react more than think.
Yeah.
Like, you're projecting things that you think are going to happen on the baseball field, and you react to them. You know what I mean? So, first and second, you're an infielder. You know what you're going to do with the ball if it's hit to your left or your right side. So, they're the things you project. But at the end of the day, you go and play. And all the else goes out the window. The only thing you're thinking at the plate, for instance, is, okay, 2-2, what kind of pitch am I think I'm getting right now?
Right.
They're the kind of things you think about. But in terms of your stance and all that stuff, you just want to be able to go.
No, just get up there and you do your thing.
And as a pitcher, you just want to be able to go. What's comfortable, what's gotten you there, that's what you want to be able to go with. If he tinkers with little things like I talked about, and I don't even know this, but a leg kick or different things like that, arm-wise, and that's a different story. But you can't try to rebuild a guy just because, now he's up in the majors, he's under me now, and let me show you how big my thing is, and I'm going to try to revamp his whole style, Sean.
I mean, just look at his track record. I mean, he came from Boston. Who's the last pitcher Boston developed? Honestly, I mean, I feel like every year they're going out and just trying to sign the biggest name on the market and bring them in there. Like, when has Boston, for a perfect example, they got a guy like Clay Buchholz.
I was just going to say
I was going to say that. There you go.
Supposed to be the man of one of the best pitchers in the league. I think this guy's career record is 15 games below 500.
It is. He's just a guy.
Exactly.
He's a guy.
And so if he couldn't do nothing with this guy who's supposed to have class World A talent, turn him into nothing, I mean, what's his track record?
Or maybe McClure messed him up.
Well, there
Right.
you go. And then the flip side of that is how many guys have come up through Boston's system and then wound up going elsewhere and succeeding.
Well, look at who was the other kid? Not obviously Hamels, but the other young pitcher we had coming up, and he went with the White Sox forever. I can't even draw a blank.
Gavin Floyd.
Gavin Floyd. Can't even draw a blank on his name, but he went to the White Sox and became a better pitcher. Now, was he what everybody thought he was going to be? No, he never was. But at the end of the day, the pitching coach at the time, you can see a difference that maybe it was some things that he changed that didn't work for him. He went to another place, new scenery, different pitching coach, and became successful. One, because some pitching coaches are going to let you go back to what you do. They're focusing more on, hey, command spots and stuff like that. You don't want to. This is big league baseball. It's not time for you to break down a complete windup. You know what I mean?
Right.
That's what the minors are for.
Well,
so that's not doing your. If you know a kid like Jake Thompson's coming up and you think that's something you're going to work on or change, that should have been changed in AAA.
No, you're absolutely right. And I mean, I don't necessarily think it's exclusive to McClure either, because I kind of had a problem with Doobie in the same way.
Oh, the Doob, man.
But I think it might be even bigger than McClure. It might be an organizational problem. I mean,
we're back to this. We're back to this again.
Well, you look at a guy like Philippe Aumont, who was
Jesus
the biggest
Christ.
train wreck on the face of the earth at the major league level.
Did they find his body in the Delaware yet?
They may have, but by all accounts, the guy was a good, solid minor league pitcher. You take a guy like Brett Myers, who at times was brilliant at the major league level, and at times, couldn't hit the broadside of a barn. But they had a
his
guy.
hands could.
Well, his hands
He's been known to get handsy.
his hands could hit the broadside of a lot of things.
He's handsy.
But they had a guy at AAA for a very, very long time by the name of Rod Nichols, who basically took Brett Myers and turned him from a starter to a closer, who was, by all accounts, a fairly successful closer for a season and a half. and then rebuilt him back to a starter for the 2008 team that won the World Series. The Phillies have talented pitching coaches right now at AA and AAA, and I just kind of wonder if organizationally they just don't have this mentality that they're going to really go out and find the best of the best that they can get at the minor league level. But their major league pitching coaches are just so stuck on themselves and that they know the right way to do everything that they're going to try to break down these guys and rebuild them. I mean, even this year within season, if you look at Vince Velasquez, you go back and you look at the footage from the game early in the season where he had 16 strikeouts, and you look at his last couple games, the motion is different. Now, granted, some of that may have had to do with the injury, and they may be trying to cut down on some of the wear and tear on his arm. But even still, I got to think that having a guy change his motion is going to put more stress on the arm than just letting him go out there and do his thing. And if he gets to an innings limit, you cut him.
Again, to your point, changing anything, right? I mean, changing anything you would think on the mound would affect the arm at some point, right? Because you're doing something you're not used to doing. So anything, if it's a leg kick, I keep going back to the leg kick because it's the most basic thing in the
you're
world.
Absolutely right.
But you're taught at a young age when you go to the pitching clinics and all that stuff. And I went to one of the best around here in the bars, and most people in Jersey, they all know the hit doctor and what they brought to the table. And you always taught about how's that balance of just being able to hold that right foot up. I can still do it to this day. I'm not even a pitcher, but just from like the training and the reputation of it, that I can just hold it for probably like 15, 20 seconds. It's crazy. So I can only imagine an MLB guy. But like stuff like that, like if you're talking about balance with a guy and working on them kinds of things and push-offs and trying to drive more with the lower body and not as much on the arm, that's okay if you're trying to help the arm down the road, but you can't change up the
mechanics.
Freaking you can't change up his wind up.
Right.
I mean that's mental. You're getting a kid, not only did he come up and pitch and get hit around his first time around, right? A little bit. And from time to time, you got to hit again. We know Jake Thompson's situation here. He struggled. But so if he pitched a one way that he's used to game one, and then you go change him, not only did he get a hit around with coming up, doing something he's been doing his whole career probably, okay? Then he comes up and, boom, gets hit around. Fine. Then you start making adjustments within 4 or 5 game stretch there where you start switching up different things like Mike's talking about. Well, now what are you going to do? Now your head's even more going because you couldn't get guys out coming up here, so you're already nervous. It's just human nature to be nervous, and you have confidence in yourself, but now a pitcher coach is coming to you and trying to tinker and change. Well, where's your head at now? Now your confidence goes to shit. I say, hey, kid, come on. Yeah, let's go again. You need a sample size at a guy at the big league level to be able to determine one way or the other. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
We've seen small sample sizes, hence Dominic Brown, and other small sample sizes come and go here, right? Mm-hmm. But we want the longevity. So you can't make adjustments 3 starts, 5 starts in a guy's big league career. Talk to me after a year. Like, talk to me after a year then, and during the off season is when them adjustments happen. Listen, when I umpire, even girls softball, right? A lot of times I won't call illegal pitches. I'll tell them in between innings, hey, depending on the level, it's, work on this. And this is from an umpire. Work on it, when you pitch on the side because I don't want to get in your head. I want you to continue to be able to throw because, I don't want to get in their head.
Right.
And that's at a low level, but it goes all the way up. Messing with a guy or a girl's head doesn't change as you get older. We talk about mental toughness all you want, but that's a big adjustment, especially when you get hit around early. Exactly, like that. Yeah. It's different. And even for Velasquez. So what are you saying? A guy that should be a closer, and
I think he's ultimately going to be a closer.
Yeah, and that's an argument, again, we can get into.
Right, but that's the thing is I want to go to that next level thinking because you've been talking for, the better part of 2 months now that you're seeing Vince Velasquez as a closer. I have to wonder how much of what you're seeing and what you're thinking is based on the regression that we've seen from him over the course of the season. Because maybe he truly is, a 6+, 7+, 8 inning type of pitcher, and he's not getting there because they've messed with him so much that he just can't reach down and give you that solid 110, 115, 120 because he's just all over the place mentally.
Yeah, or it could be that, or it could just be as simple as just not getting the job done for all of them. Really. You know what I mean? In terms of Thompson, just not getting the job done. In terms of Noah at the end there, not getting the job done.
Another question that I had going through this whole scenario is, where do you draw the line between what your scouting reports say and working to a pitcher's strengths? Because a prime example I'm talking about is Zach Eflin, okay? Zach Eflin came up and, he got hit around a little bit his first couple starts. And then all of a sudden we saw a string of like 3 or 4 starts in a row where Zach Eflin basically said, I don't give a rat's ass what the scouting report says. I'm not going to go away. I'm going to do what worked for me in the minor leagues, and I'm going to start busting guys in on their hands. Next thing you know, all of a sudden, like, there's success. Another example was tonight. You had Adam Morgan on the mound, and Adam Morgan's another guy. Goes to Lehigh Valley and just, rattles off 7 innings. Now, granted, they're not major league hitters, but everything about Adam Morgan is, he's got a 92-mile-an-hour fastball, but he's left-handed. So you just got to pound hitters inside. He comes up, and everything is away. Tonight, he's pitching to Daniel Murphy in the first inning, and he busts him in on his hands, and he gets a pop-up. And Larry Anderson on the radio broadcast makes the point, why is it that Adam Morgan is the only pitcher on the Phillies staff that is not afraid to work inside?
Well, I think
it's a valid question.
Well, I think that starts from bottom to top. I mean, that's something I think is an issue in baseball big time. Is one, coming up level-wise, pitching coaches and coaches are scared to go inside and get beat inside. And it's like, okay, let a kid or a young kid beat you away, right? So from a low level on line up, you're taught to pitch away, because there's a lot of bad freaking coaches out there, and none of them teach, hey, establish inside, then work out, or inside out. To your point, you see it at the big league level all the time watching the Phillies game. Away. Dude, you can throw 96, or 92 from the left side, or 92 with movement. Get it on the hands a little bit. If you make a mistake, it happens.
And it's the thing that just baffles me about it is it's not the late 80s or early 90s anymore where guys would stand in the far back of the batter's box, as far away from the plate as they could, and anything middle in was getting ripped out of the ballpark, but a pitcher could make a living on that outer third. Doesn't happen anymore. Now guys stand right up on top of the plate. They basically have body armor on their elbows, knees, and ankles, and anything over the outer third, they're extending their arms and they're hitting it out to dead center in these smaller ballparks. But if you come in and you paint black on the inside corner, they're going to raise their arms and look down on it as if the pitch is inside, and the umpire's going to ring them up. Like, it just seems like pitching coaches haven't changed with the times. There's way too much old school thinking of the only way you're going to get these guys out is to get them out away. Yeah.
This Phillies Talk is brought to you by the Sports Outlet, Glendora, New Jersey. Find them on the web, sportsoutletinc.com. But to the question, I mean, on hand, would you fire Bob McClure, Sean? Do you let him, do you continue to let him be here? You look outside the organization?
I look at it as this entire coaching staff, maybe outside of Larry Boa, is short term. Because I think once this team starts competing, which hopefully is next year,
yep,
McCannon's not going to be here. And I think when McCannon
goes... You don't think so? I know you're a fan of Pete.
I am, but I'm starting to get a little baffled by some things.
All right, well...
I just think they're out together. Like, I think as long as McCannon's here, McClure is going to be here. Because I don't think either of them are long-term solutions. Like, maybe McCannon's here next year because people might have been impressed with what he did this year. Me, I kind of was... Like Nicky Jules will tell you, he wanted to fight me in the studio one day because I said we did like a quarter way through the season. I said McClure was my manager. McClure. McCannon was my NL manager of the year for what he was doing with the Phillies.
Yeah, at one point.
But then it got to like a month later. I'm like, I'm getting tired. He's micromanaging everything. Like he's like doing it straight by the books. Like, all right, my starter goes 6, he's gone. 2 relievers, my setup man, my closer. Like, no, you can't manage like that. And I don't look at McCannon as a long-term solution with his team, and I think he's as long as McCannon's here, McClure's here.
Do you think he and just trying to play devil's advocate with the whole thing? Because I'll tell you where my opinion stands too. But to play devil's advocate, do you think he micromanages more because he knows it's not a good team, and he's got young pitchers and young kids, and it's more of a, let's go out and try to get better? You think that as something to play with it?
Yeah, I do. I think the answer to that is absolutely yes. But I think there's a substantial difference between micromanaging your lineup or micromanaging your bench versus having it flow to your starting rotation and your bullpen. And if you want to micromanage in terms of a pitch count or the number of innings that you're going to let a guy go, something like that, I might be okay with that. But when you get into micromanaging in terms of tinkering with the delivery, the arm slot, things like that, then that becomes a problem because you're taking away from what guys know how to do naturally. And these guys didn't get this far because they don't have talent.
Or know what they're doing.
Yeah. I mean, and going back to the mechanics.
To a point which can be a disservice to some of these guys, too.
Yeah.
And some of them think they got all the goddamn answers, and then they can't get better.
Yeah.
But,
Right.
So, both sides,
right.
They know what they're doing, and some too much. But the ones who know what they're doing and are willing to learn different little things, they're the guys who are successful.
I run by the theory, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
No.
If a guy comes up and he's getting batters out, like you can't go by one start.
No.
Everybody's going to have the nerve flow. Give them 3-5 starts. And if you're just not seeing it, then try to make changes. You can't just go right out. All right, he's at the major leagues. All right, we got to change this. No. If he's getting people out, he got people out in high school, went to college, got people out, went to the minors, got people out, each level got people out. He's going to figure it out. He's good.
Yeah,
right.
I think it goes for all of them, really,
Yeah.
or a couple of them.
And if you look at the Aaron Nola situation, now, granted, a lot of this is hindsight, but if you look at the Nola situation, I mean, Nola had a streak earlier in the season where he went like 23 or 24 consecutive scoreless innings, and then he hit a rough patch. And they actually got to a point where McClure, stopped coaching him, and they actually had the bullpen coach come in to the dugout during Nola's starts, and Nola, he was watching Nola pitch. Well, now all of a sudden, he's getting it from McCannon. He's getting it from McClure. McClure can't figure it out, so McClure takes a step back and lets this other coach come in. Well, now all of a sudden, if I'm Nola, I'm starting to think, wait a minute, my pitching coach is abandoning ship because he can't figure it out. Where the F is the confidence? So what does Nola do? Nola goes out on a Saturday afternoon. He gives up 4 or 5 runs in the first inning, and then all of a sudden, boom, there's a switch, and something clicks. And he winds up getting through 6, doesn't give up a hit through the 2nd, 3rd, 4th, gives up a hit in the 5th, winds up getting through 6, doesn't give up another run. And he's in the clubhouse after the game, and he's telling all the reporters, I don't know what it was, but after the first inning, something clicked. I found it. The velocity was there. The locations are. I can't wait to make my next start. What do? They shut him down. They don't give him another start for 2.5 weeks. How smart was that? Were they overmanaging, micromanaging? I mean, it's and this
innings-wise, I think a lot what's happened with the Mets in terms of a lot of their young arms at different points. I think that it's in your division. You see it more than you see other teams. Not saying you don't see the other teams as much, but you know what I'm saying. It's closer to home to you, and you see these kids throw a ton of innings, and Tommy John, other surgeries. So maybe that's a little bit what guys are a little fearful for, and that's why you have these innings limits on these kids. So I think Knowles is more just an innings limit, which do I agree with, Mike? No. I think the pussification of arms has hurt arms. Back in the day, there wasn't Tommy John. There wasn't guys there wasn't significant arm injuries like this. And people blame it on, they throw too many, they throw too many pitches, blah, 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 blah. Well, a lot to do with it's throwing your curveballs and your sliders at a young age.
I was going to say, I was watching a Little League World Series, and I forget the one kid, I forget what team it was, but I kid you not, he threw 8 curveballs in a row, and he was 11 years old. I was like, that is absolutely the coach should have went out there and was like, dude, throw a fastball.
Throw a fastball.
Yeah, throw a fastball.
It comes to the point where it's too much. So, a lot of that plays into it. So, I'm mixed. I have mixed emotions on the pitching limit. I say when you're out of it, does it really matter? Yeah, shut them down. Whatever. Get them ready for next year. Build their arm up, I guess. So, they have, they have the sports science and stuff like that behind it. So, you let these guys go with it. But, yeah, to your point, I think he's micromanaged innings, like Sean says, you go 6 and that's it, and doesn't look at because maybe they're not going to win anyway. Looks at I'm not going to beat these kids up this year because for his sake, he wants to win next year because next year, if he doesn't,
his job.
Yeah, and his job's on the line. So for McCannon, why would you want to blow any of these arms out this year? Just playing other sides of it. That's all.
Fair point. But if you're going to need a couple of these guys to go 180, 200 innings next year. Don't you think you need to get him at least to 150, 160 this year?
I agree. So, I mean, I don't know the reason behind them shutting them down. They can say injuries and all that, but you know how I feel about all that stuff.
Yeah, when it first happened, I thought it was just a mental break. It was like, dude, sophomore slump, get your head right, see you next spring.
Yeah.
Right. I'm on board with that too. I mean, I thought the exact same thing, to be quite honest with you. But I mean, and then you know, Tommy, you had asked about McCannon. Like, he said something today that just baffled me when I guess he was asked in this pregame press conference. You know, Tyler Goodell is starting tonight against the left-hander. Like, why haven't we seen more of him? You know, he had a stretch of about 5 weeks where, you know, with Borges out or Borges, you know, not hitting and Cody Ashley on the DL. I mean, Tyler Goodell was played almost every day. And he had a 5-week stretch where he hit almost 300.
Yeah, in May.
Yeah, it was like, I want to say it was like May 5th to June 10th or something like that.
But then they had to start getting Cody Ashley
right.
and Jimmy Paredes at bats. Like,
right.
Come on.
And that was the question is, you know, now you're so late in the season, you're getting to the point where you're almost ready to talk about September call-ups. And Tyler Goodell has gotten 28 at-bats since the All-Star break. Like, why isn't he playing more? And McCannon's response was, well, we know that Tyler Goodell is going to be with our organization next year. I don't think I have to look at him anymore. So you're going to give at-bats to Peter Borges and Jimmy Paredes, who probably aren't going to be with the organization next year? I mean, what are you trying to do, give them a chance to sell themselves to someone else? I would be sticking them as far on the bench as I possibly could and running Goodell out there every day and figuring out, is he going to be a 4th or 5th outfielder next year, or is he going to start the year at AAA?
Right. I agree. I mean, I like it. He's a guy who's not going to make errors in the field. He's going to give you hard at-bats. He's going to give you consistent at-bats. And I would much rather watch a kid out there than Jimmy Paredes.
Yeah, I mean, and then, you know, the Tommy Joseph situation, that's a little tougher because obviously the alternative is Ryan Howard. And he's figured out a way to put Howard in the lineup often enough and against the right matchups where, you know, he's successful. He you know, for the last 2 months, I mean, the guy's been raking. And the first base combination between Howard and Joseph, I mean, they have 39 home runs. Mm-hmm. So you can't deny that part of it. But Tommy Joseph is hitting like 100 with runners in scoring position. Why? Probably because he's out there facing a lot tougher pitchers. So the opportunity to hit with runners in scoring position isn't as great. And then when he comes up with runners in scoring position, he's pressing because he feels like he has to get the job done. Or else, you know, Ryan Howard could be starting again tomorrow. I don't want to say he's mismanaged the situation. I just feel like for as well as Ryan Howard has played, Tommy Joseph probably should have been getting a few more at-bats.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's one position you can tip your cap though, and I think he handled it pretty well.
Yeah,
for the most part, he's gotten Tommy Joseph at bats, and that's what you're looking for, is to get the kids as many at bats as possible moving forward. But in terms of McClure, I would make a move and look for more, you know, a better option.
Right.
You know, what's out there next year, and try to find somebody better with a little bit better of a pedigree. That's what I would look for. But I also feel like how they think is that he's already been around these kids, and they don't want to bring somebody else in again and start the clock on these kids again. That's the only option that I could see where they would say, all right, Bob McClure is still here.
Go ahead, Sean. I'm sorry.
No, I mean, yeah, that's part of the line I'm thinking. I don't think McClure is going to be gone unless a new manager is hired and brings in his own staff. I think that's the only way McClure's not here.
And you're good with him being gone.
Yeah, I mean, it don't – like I said, I wasn't real excited when he came here because I looked at it, I was like, all right, well, who the hell did he coach in Boston besides the big names they signed already? Like,
just a guy.
Yeah.
No, I mean, I mean, Tommy, you know, I liked him. I think for the hand that he's been dealt, I think he's done a hell of a job, but there's some parts that you just like, you scratch your head. You really do. And – you know, I have these arguments on social media a lot where, you know, people were ready to you know, kind of cut ties with him. And I'm thinking to myself, well, I don't know if I'm ready to cut ties just yet because, you know, he's got a lot of young guys that are really busting their asses for him. I think it becomes a fine line because, Sean, to your earlier point, you know, do you get to a point where he's just no longer the right guy for the team because they're ready to take that next step. And if that's the case, who do you bring in? I mean,
Right.
are you bringing in a guy?
Now you're talking about McCannon.
Yeah. Well. To Sean's point, though, you got to kind of have to figure that McCannon and McClure are married.
That's what I mean. So you don't think that they would change as McClure?
No, I think if they did, it would probably be from within the organization. And, I mean, they have a pitching coach at AAA right now, David Lundquist, who, I mean, every single
goalie.
It'd be Henrik's little brother. But no, I mean, every pitcher they've had at AAA this year has had success. Guys go down. I mean, they sent Andrew Bailey down. The guy has success. Basically, Edward Mujica was a reclamation project. He had a ton of success at AAA to the point where he opted out of his contract because he thought another major league team was ready to sign him. I mean, every single pitcher that has gone through Lehigh Valley this year has had success. So I'm thinking that if McCannon stays, but you're going to part with McClure, I think Lundquist has to get the first shot with these young kids. And if he doesn't work out, then maybe you look outside the organization.
Unless something's going on behind the scenes where these kids and these arms are not happy about something, I don't think he's going anywhere. Me personally, again, I would look for somebody with more of a pedigree. And if I'm McCannon, I would want somebody with more of a pedigree because, again, next year I'm trying to save my job and be here when they get really good. You know what I mean?
Is there any murmurs of that at all? Any talking that there's been any displeasures with him or the catching staff in general?
Well, I know Nola wasn't happy with him with the whole situation that we just discussed.
Well, that's an important piece of this puzzle. And
he's kind of right now, I mean, he's been your most productive young pitcher.
Sean, to your point, if he was still in AAA, he'd be the number one prospect in this organization, right? I mean, we can all agree on that one, right? Aaron Nola, we can agree that that's where he would sit. So that's a big part. If he's not happy, who goes? We know how this works in sports. The guys are the ones getting paid bigger bucks.
Yep.
So they're harder to get rid of. The coaching staff is, okay, see ya. Maybe you're paying a good pitching coach $1 million or $2 million. You're not breaking the bank on pitching coaches, and that's a good one. So you're probably paying McClure maybe $1 million. You know what I mean? Somewhere around there, I'm sure. So it's not hard to replace that if that becomes an issue. So if Aaron Nola's not happy, and maybe that's the reason, conspiracy on why they shut him down, so they have to deal with it for this year.
I mean, that's possible too. I mean, I just, I go back to the whole thing with Lehigh Valley. I mean, you got a guy down there that no Phillies fan ever wants to see in a Phillies uniform again, David Buchanan, who is twice an International League Pitcher of the Month this year under David Lundquist.
Maybe nobody can hit in the conference Lehigh
Valley. It's
possible.
It's entirely possible.
Because everybody's dealing, it seems
right,
like.
But I mean, it's like, you get Eflin promoted, you get Thompson promoted, you got a guy like Buchanan who is having a great season. Nick Pivetta gets bumped up from the minors. He's pitching well, or from AA to AAA, he's pitching well. Ben Lively gets bumped up from AA to AAA. He pitches well. I'm just convinced that they have a better pitching coach at AAA right now than they do at the major league level.
One young guy, though, that did kind of overachieve this year in the major league level is Eichhoff.
Well, that's a tough one.
If you ask on the staff who's looked the best, take Hellickson out of the mix, right? And you talk about all the kids.
It's Eichhoff.
Who has the most command, like just presence, mound presence? It's Jared Eichhoff.
Yeah.
He looks like he's been there before.
Right. When he came up, I had zero expectations.
Well, the reason that
he was just more of a throw-in to me.
Right. Well, the reason that I say I'm not as sold on that maybe as you are is because there were flashes last year towards the end of the year where he would rattle off 2-3 good starts in a row and he just got no run support. And this year, you look at him now. I mean, he's 9-13. So the guy has 22 decisions.
Which means, listen,
he's sticking around long enough to pitching deep into games.
Sean wasn't here last week.
Right, he's got an ERA under 4.
Sean, I want to out-hit you. You know what I mean? Like I don't want to get into the pitching game. Arms get hurt easy. Right? If I have a 1 through 8 that can flat out hit the baseball and make and fear, and your staff has to fear that's the game I want to play with you.
Yeah, I'm in the same mindset.
Right?
To win the games, you got to score runs.
You got to score runs. So I need a guy like I need Jared Eichhoff, right?
That's what happened with the Phillies, though. In 08, what they do? Everybody was scared shitless of their lineup when they faced them, and then they went to this whole H2O, Hamels, Holiday, Lee, Hamels, whatever.
Wasn't successful.
Yeah. And
At the end of the
then you're
day,
putting out nobodies in the lineup, and you're losing games, 3-1, 2,
like last year.
It don't work.
Last year was really bad. I mean, at least our lineup this year is a little better. But, I mean, last year you saw it. You know, we were done. First off, our staff stunk.
You knew if the team got 4 runs last year, game was over.
Yep, done. And most of the time it came in the first inning.
Yeah.
Good start. But to your point about Eichhoff, you know, he's the kind of guy you want to stick around. He's the kind of guy I want. I want guys to go 7, keep you in the game, give up, 2-3 runs through 7. They're the guys I want because I expect to put up 5 a night. 6 a night, because that's the kind of lineup I'm expecting to build here with some of the power and the talent coming through this farm system.
Right.
Look, I just keep bringing
Your number one prospect is a shortstop who can hit.
The Boston Red Sox are a perfect example.
Yep.
Outside of Price, who the hell is their pitching staff?
Nobody.
But they're one of the best teams in baseball just because they got a crazy lineup.
We say it every week. Credit to the Boston Red Sox for sticking with Mookie Betts, sticking with Bogarts, Jackie Bradley Jr., more, all 3 of them actually.
Right.
Because they could have sold all that for Cole Hamels.
Yep.
Sean, right? They could have sold the whole farm for Cole Hamels. We could have Mookie Betts. But credit to them for not making that move, because look where they're at now, to your point. They out-hit you. Toronto,
and they
right?
And they still have
Toronto has Estrada.
Yeah,
That's it.
Well,
Right.
and
You could give me Happ.
Stroman.
Stroman, that's what I meant.
He's all
They got
right.
Stroman.
Boston still has a number 1 prospect in all of baseball, too, so it's ridiculous. You had a second baseman at Double-A hitting 30 home runs, hitting 320.
Yeah.
Yohan Moncada is ridiculous.
But that's the thing. Like, the team's got to out-hit you. You look at the real good ones. Texas now, 1 through 9 is lethal.
Yep.
You just look around. Everybody. Even Cleveland's getting it done more with their staff this year, but timely
They still
hitting.
got a good lineup.
Timely hitting, too. They don't have the superstar in the lineup, but timely hitting. Again, Toronto's going to outslug you. And like you're talking about, okay, they have guys, Happ and Stroman, but
Well,
that's it.
It's
but
guys.
They got Bautista, Encarnacion, Donaldson, guys like that are just going to come up and crush the ball.
It's easy for Jay to have to gain confidence when, for them guys to go out and pitch well.
Yeah, when you know you could give up 4 runs, 5 runs
still
a game
win.
and still
Right. Well,
win,
I think it's also it's a difference between your American League philosophy and your National League philosophy.
I can't believe I said Estrada.
No,
for
because
Stroman.
Estrada had a
He
great
has
season
a low
last
ERA
year.
this year.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he's leading the league in ERA this year. I mean, Estrada's a good call.
Yeah, that's okay.
But I mean, it's
I
a
was
situ-
right. Yeah,
you
all
know,
right. I'm going crazy now.
It's a
I got his name
situation
wrong.
though, and it's what I call the Kershaw effect.
I was expecting like,
Well, no, you're spot on, because in the American League, if you have a pitcher who comes in with an ERA under 4, he's just flat out dealing, because every team in the American League at some point is just going to rake. But in the National League, between Kershaw, Bumgarner, Greinke last year, a couple of other guys, you're looking at guys with an ERA of like 2.25, and these are your Cy Young candidates. Now, granted, they're only pitching to 8 spots in the lineup every night, so there's certainly a difference there. But at the same time, the measuring stick is different. And you looking at like a staff like the Phillies with all these young kids, with the ballpark they play in for the amount of experience they have, you got a kid like Eichhoff who's got a sub-4 ERA, boom, I'll take it all day, every day. Because I know at some point this organization is going to rake and a sub-4 ERA is going to become a 16-game winner.
yeah.
But right now, it's not.
It's not.
The problem that I have is when you're running guys out there like Jake Thompson, who's got a 6.59 ERA in the major leagues and a 2.59 ERA at AAA, there's clearly a problem there. There is an absolute disconnect from when he was at Lehigh Valley to when he came up, and I don't think it's limited to just him.
Fair enough.
Yeah, can't
Fair
disagree.
enough. Yeah, so what we'll do on the other side is we'll get into Eagle 53-man roster projections. We'll give you that. We'll do the more or less game with the Eagles, and we'll look back at Game 3 dress rehearsal. All that much more. This was brought to you by Gibson Mayer, LLC, your certified public accountant. You can find it on the web, gibsonmayer.com. This is Tom.
Mike.
AM.
In the PM.
Right here at HUDradio.com. And this segment was brought to you by BMW of Atlantic City. This month, they challenged their sales team. They must sell 100 vehicles, which means you save right now at least a certified pre-owned elite 2016 BMW 320i with xDrive, just $299 a month for 36 months. The ultimate driving experience is closer than you think. BMW Atlantic City, easy to get to. Minutes off exit 37 of the Parkway. Online, BMWAtlanticCity.com.
You're listening to the worldwide leader of Real Talk, A2DRadio.com.
A2DRadio.com is sponsored by The Sports Outlet, located 703 Black Horse Pike in Glendora, New Jersey, with over 40 years of customer experience giving the latest in uniforms and equipment to sports enthusiasts of baseball, softball, football, basketball, hockey, soccer, and much more. Give them a call at 856-939-2030 or send them an email at sportsoutletnj@comcast.net or visit their website at www.sportsoutletinc.com for all of your sporting needs.
Hey, do you consider yourself the next Tiger Woods, Phil Mickelson, or Jordan Spieth? Well, head on out on November 5th at Valley Brook Country Club in Blackwood, New Jersey for A2DRadio.com's first ever Real Talk Invitational. $125 per person to enter, teams up to 4 members, and it includes all you can eat and drink and contests including longest drive, putting competition, closest to the pin, and the hole-in-one contest. Once again, it's November 5th at Valley Brook Country Club in Blackwood, New Jersey. The guys here at A2DRadio.com hope to see you there. A2DRadio.com is proudly sponsored by Gibson Mayer LLC Certified Public Accountants. Gibson Mayer, located in Yardley, PA, is a leading accounting and business consulting firm with a proven track record of handling critical issues with expertise across many different industries, including construction, distribution, hospitality, manufacturing, real estate, service trades, merchandising, professional services, and professional athletes. Give them a call at 215-369-3300. That's 215-369-3300. Your initial consultation is always free, and if you tell them that Tom and Mike from AM and the PM sent you, you'll receive 15% off all income tax services completed by February 15th. That's Gibson Mayer LLC Certified Public Accountants, 215-369-3300, or visit them on the web at www.gibsonmayer.com. That's gibsonmayer.com.
Hey, do you need to get your skills in shape? Then contact the Scanzano Sports Center, located at 5 Carnegie Plaza in Cherry Hill, New Jersey. You can give them a call at 856-889-3434 or visit them on the web at www.scanzanosports.com. John Scanzano offers individual, semi-private, and team training lessons in hitting, pitching, catching, outfield, along with turf rentals. The Scanzano Sports Center is equipped with a 31,000 square foot indoor facility, 4 batting cages, and a 4,000 square foot strengthening and conditioning room. So what are you waiting for? Contact the Scanzano Sports Center today.
You're listening to Tom and Mike, AM in the PM, here on A2DRadio.com.
Welcome back, Tom.
Mike,
I am.
in the PM.
Right here, A2DRadio.com. Tom Renone, Michael Mataraki, Sean Redden, Rob Povey on the ones and twos. If you just joined us, our poll question, you can vote on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube. A2D Radio is where you can find us. Should the Phillies fire pitching coach Bob McClure? Real simple. Yes or no, and that's brought to you by Scanzano Sports. Find them on the web, scanzanosports.com. Every Wednesday night, we're brought to you by Gibson Mayer LLC, your certified public accountant. Find them on the web, gibsonmayer.com. We're going to move forward now. We did a little Phillies, McClure, McCannon talk. Talked a lot of arms tonight. A lot of arms here on Tom and Mike AM in the PM. Got real heavy into the Tommy John tonight on Tom and Mike AM in the PM with Sean Redden. That's how that's going to be. It's going to be like the longest title of a show ever. With Sean Redden, Rob Povey on the ones and twos. It'll be like the longest freaking title to a show ever. We will lose viewership because we have like a 2 million character title.
Lose viewership. You'll lose your co-host because I'll fall asleep while you're rattling off.
I know. I don't think I could do it. I don't know if I could do that, like knowing that I had to. Like, I just do it because it's part of the gig. But, like, if it was part of the title, I don't know. I think I'd panic. I don't panic.
You must chill.
I don't panic. But moving forward, right now, let's look back. A little dress rehearsal. Game 3 for the Birds. We talked about it when we started the show. Sam Bradford, first ballot Hall of Famer in terms of Game 3 of the preseason. Part of the Mount Rushmore quarterbacks. I mean, when you talk Montana and you talk Steve Young and you talk Favre and you talk Manning and Brady, you talk some of the greats in preseason football. You talk Dak Prescott. Sam Bradford's right there, an all-time preseason great. That being said,
Dramatic pause.
Well, because listen. After how we were full last year, guys, it's really tough for me. Listen, I get geeked up over preseason football every year. This is the first year that it's been with caution. A lot of caution. A lot of caution tape up around. It's almost like a freaking goddamn fucking murder scene. You understand? Because there's so much caution tape, so much that I got to go in with the gloves on. You know what I mean? I can't get my fingerprints on nothing, Sean. You understand what I'm saying right now? So
I'll tell you what. In all honesty, at least you got the caution tape up. I mean, dude, I'm a freaking season ticket holder. And I haven't been fired up about this year at all yet.
No, but listen, this
I'm excited for football to come back.
Yeah, of course.
But I'm like the green blood is not boiling to the surface yet. You know what I mean?
Because it's a lot of unknowns, guys. This team is based on a lot of ifs. You understand? It's when we break all this down and we give you more or less and we give you predictions and I tell you 10-6 like I've been preaching. It's a lot of ifs to get to 10-6. It's not just coming out saying this is a 10-6 football team. When I make the statement of 10-6, I say, well, if this goes right, When you talk about on-ifs, guys that aren't ifs on this football team, you can go to really two players. You can go to Fletcher Cox and you can say Malcolm Jenkins. Okay, and you can say other guys if you really want to, but they're your guarantees week in, week out, right? We can all agree on that. Besides, that's a lot of ifs.
But
right?
I'll tell you what.
Right?
No, you're absolutely
we
right.
don't know enough about McLeod. I think he's a real good player, don't get me wrong. But we don't know. So if McLeod fits and that all goes right, Jim Schwartz's defense. The one thing you can take out of Game 3, and then go ahead, the one thing you can take out, forget the offense side of the football, which did look promising, the front four, the front seven like we talked about. Ball, going and getting. And that's what you can take out of it and be excited about. If you're looking for something to get excited about this front seven of this football team.
Well, I would rather you be at 10-6 with two handfuls of ifs than crumbs like on the dial like Eitan Shander, Mr. Negadelphia himself.
Yeah, Mr. CSB.
Who's got him at 7-9 or 8-8 with those same, the same pack of ifs.
Yeah.
It's like I listen to him and I want to shoot myself in the face because of all the bullshit that comes out of his mouth.
Yeah, I was listening to it tonight, and it was a lot of, he was making the case that it was only Fletcher Cox. And so I piggybacked off and said, I don't think it's just Fletcher Cox.
No.
I think you put Malcolm Jenkins, the guy who's not an if guy. I think you can, and I say I think you can, but I think essentially McLeod's another guy. Yeah. He's got a pedigree of being able to play safety in this league. I don't think he's an if guy. The ifs are McKelvin. Right? Can he stay healthy?
Jason Peters, same thing.
Can he stay healthy? They're your ifs. Sam Bradford, Beckham. Jordan Matthews, I don't think he's an if guy. I think he's a player. Yeah. If Lane Johnson isn't suspended, so there's ifs there.
Yep.
But
if Jason Peters can play,
if Jordan Hicks can stay on the field.
If you want to go to the offense side of the ball and play the if game with me, that's fine. But on the defense side of the ball, I don't think there's as many ifs. I think there's a lot more, maybe not guarantees in terms of like your Cox and your Jenkins, but guys that you're going to get something out of, like Benny Logan. Benny Logan is a good player in this league. Connor Barwin and Vinny Carey in a good spot, Brandon Graham in a good spot. So, that's a lot that I took out of Game 3 of the dress rehearsal is that we're going to go get you.
Yep.
And it's going to help this secondary because, listen, when the only weakness of your secondary is your two corners essentially because they're number 2s.
And Nolan Carroll's played pretty well.
Yeah, if they're your biggest question marks, you're in good shape. The biggest question marks, Mike, on the defense side of the football is I don't think it's if Jordan Hicks can play. It's if Jordan Hicks is healthy.
Right.
It's not if.
The biggest if right now in the linebackers is Michael Kendricks.
Yeah, it's not if Michael Kendricks can play. It's if Michael Kendricks is healthy.
It's funny because we talked about that last week while you were gone. Sean was.
I like something real quick that you caught on to where I was with that.
Oh yeah.
With the if game because I heard the freaking if game. So that's why I wanted to get into the if
and he's
game.
A crumb.
Yeah, because I like to piggyback. I don't care where the frick he went to school or if it was goddamn alma mater. I built It's like the place I built. I feel like, you know what I mean. I'm going to say that from now on.
Well,
Just to throw a wrench in their place.
I don't care if
It's the place HUD Radio built.
No, I don't care if he worked in New York.
So we all built it. We all built it.
Yeah. I don't care.
We
if
all
he,
had a freaking hammer.
I don't care if he worked in New York, and I don't care if he's been on Sirius XM. The guy's a crumb, and I'll tell him that to his face. I don't give a shit.
I don't care.
But
the
no, I mean, Sean, to your point, like one of the things that we talked about last week was with the Eagles signing Stephen Tulloch. I mean, is that almost the beginning of the end for Michael Kendricks? And I think the consensus was he's still going to be the starter, but he could be on borrowed time if he doesn't perform. I mean, every possibility.
Mike, that's the sad thing. It's not about performance. If he's playing, he's going to perform. We talk about he's a sideline to sideline guy. He can make plays on the football field.
I like the fact that I have a problem with Doug Peterson and also saluting Doug Peterson.
I like this. Go ahead. What's your problem?
I'm saluting him for making Michael Kendricks play tomorrow night.
I like how you went.
That's a guy.
I like how you went the other way.
You got to light a fire under his ass. A guy that hasn't stayed healthy, and I think he's kind of came into camp under the impression like I'm the guy.
Yup,
I don't got to do this. Nah, you got to work your ass off because your spot's not guaranteed. You haven't done nothing in 3 seasons with this team. But I'm also pissed off at Doug Peterson. He's giving Nelson Aguilar off tomorrow night. What the hell has Nelson Aguilar ever done in his career to tell you that he earned the right to sit out the last preseason game? A ball going off his hands for interception on the first drive last week.
Yeah, I agree.
His ass got to be out there show me you can catch a goddamn football, and then you can have the 4th preseason game off.
Listen, I couldn't agree with you anymore. You know, when you talk about a kid in the sophomore season, the wide receiver spot, we know how hard that translation is for wide receivers, for most of them coming in the league, besides a few. We know a handful. Yeah. But with the adjustment process.
Well,
it's almost like a hitter in baseball. I want you to get reps. I want you to run routes.
Bro, let me give you the flip side of that, though, real quick.
What, that he's blowing Aguilar? Because that's what he's doing. I heard his praise today. I heard his praise. It's like his illegitimate child or something from the secretary.
I wasn't quite going to go that far.
Too soon?
Doug knows about secretaries, yeah.
That's what I mean, too soon?
Couldn't even get to the regular season with that, could you? You douche.
I couldn't wait. Some things can't wait.
Well, you hit it as soon as they signed him, but then you put it in your back pocket for a while.
It sat there.
No.
So did
he. Was he sitting? Who knows? No, the thing with Aguilar,
that's Kaepernick.
And honestly, Sean, like I agree with you. He should be playing. I just think maybe what you're seeing out of Doug with this situation, he's like the anti-McCannon. If Aguilar's going to be a starter, he's going to treat him like a starter, and he's not going to play the 4th preseason game. Whereas McCannon, might be the well, you're going to have to earn your
Cito Duval Herrera for 4 games in a row.
So to your point, then if that's the way he's playing, then Kendricks to him, and I'm going to highlight him on this piece of paper, isn't a guy that he's writing in as a starter. Because if out of the two you would sit,
point,
it would be Kendricks because of the health concerns.
Well, but the other part of that though is Aguilar's gotten reps. He's gotten 3 preseason games worth of reps. Kendricks hasn't seen the field yet in the preseason, so that could have a lot to do with it as well.
Well,
you gotta get Kendricks at least some live game action, even if he only plays 2 series.
Oh, I completely agree with you.
He's got to get some live game action before game 1.
To me, if you looked at him like the money he gets, right, and that's how they looked at him, there's no way he plays game 4.
Right.
He don't even see a snap.
Well, Tommy, you know what I'm saying?
No,
I hear exactly
you're paying a guy that's not playing the 4th freaking preseason game. He's getting paid the kind of money to have a guy who doesn't play in the 4th preseason game, regardless of the injuries coming up or getting them ready, because he should be freaking ready. That's what I don't like. It's the freaking guy behind the scenes, the jerk off, who already got kicked out of one room, now is back in the room again. He's the problem with these contracts. Because listen, now we overvaluate. We say all the time. It happens to us here that we over-evaluate these guys, and we think they're better than they are. Michael Kendricks is a good football player when he's on the field.
Yeah.
But when you're not on the field, you're not good to me anymore. You're just a guy in this league.
Right.
It's all about, listen, we know the injury rate's 100%, but there's guys who go through careers being pretty healthy guys and durable guys. They're the kind of guys you need. I understand guys are going to get hurt, but Michael Kendricks, if it happens 1 year, fine. 2 years, fine. But if you talk about 3,
you had a
trending.
good year.
Trending.
His last good year was when Andy Reid left.
Yeah, Michael Kendrick's injury history is trending.
Right.
Really, because, that's what it is.
I got a couple things I want to throw at you.
Jesus.
I got a couple things I want to throw at you from Saturday night.
Jesus, freaking guy like he's Urlacher. Go ahead.
and Tommy, from us doing this last year, I like to dig into the numbers, but I also like to look at the game flow. So a couple things I want to throw at you guys.
I like this. Back to the dress.
Number one, right out of the gate.
Back to the rehearsal.
39 yards rushing for the entire game for Indianapolis. Now, granted, they don't have the best running game in the
that's,
world.
That's status quo for them this whole year,
but,
too.
But, you got the Birds defense giving up 39 rushing yards for an entire game.
Best defensive line in football.
Second piece of this, Andrew Luck, a very pedestrian 13 of 18, only 134 yards through 3 quarters. But let's take it one step deeper. Through 3 quarters, the Eagles' defense gave up a field goal.
Hey, Mike, can you hit me with a big number, if you don't mind?
What big number would you
How
like?
about time of possession?
God damn it. Why did you do this to me?
Sorry, I thought it was there.
Well, no, it's the preseason, so I get like the box score light on this too.
Oh, yeah, true.
But clearly if you ask the question, the Eagles pretty much dominated time of possession. So
And we're back to that game now.
And that's-
if that
and that's
game
a good
matters.
thing. That's a real
Right?
good thing.
We'll find out how much it matters to these players
Right.
specifically.
Apologies. 32-53. So certainly won the time of possession. Maybe not as dominant as it appeared on TV.
What was it, 32?
32-53. So almost 33 minutes. But I would have to assume that if you look at the breakdown first half to second half,
Yeah,
most definitely a dominating first half. Second half,
not so much.
Indy started moving the ball against in the fourth quarter. I mean, the Eagles' third and fourth string defense was on the field for pretty much the entire fourth quarter.
We're talking about when
first
the,
3 quarters.
when the guys are really in that we dominate time of possession, which is going to matter. And listen, you got a lot of good some things you saw. I like what I saw at Kenyon Barner. A good change of
running
pace
the ball
guy.
hard, yeah,
good change of pace guy.
Yeah, I mean, you look at the line score. I mean, they
we
go into
protected Bradford well.
yeah. I mean,
the offensive line, I was really and I don't think Lane Johnson started that game
No,
either.
he didn't. He played with the 4
Yeah,
string.
but the Birds go into half. They're up 17.
Sample.
They're up 17-3 at the half. They come out. They go up 24-3, and then all the starters get pulled. So they're up 24-3, and they're basically coasting the rest of the way. You get 3 field goals in the fourth quarter, and that's it. That's the final. But I mean, I'm never one to put a ton of stock in preseason record because we've seen a Detroit Lions team go 4-0 in the preseason.
Seen a New York Jets team.
And
The
go
last time
0-16.
the last time the Eagles went 4-0 in the preseason, they went 4-12 in the regular season.
Doesn't translate.
And honestly, I could care less what happens tomorrow night. I'm not looking for the Birds to run the table.
You're watching?
No.
Okay, good. Me either.
Nah,
It's like a
actually, you
soul
know what?
game.
That's a lie. I'll probably watch at least the first half.
I got a draft, or maybe
You got to see. You want to see Mike Tavares play?
Oh no. Well, is he going to stand?
see Mike Tavares see his way out of town. That's about it.
Oh my goodness.
But no, I mean, honestly, like.
Sad thing, probably a good kid too.
Yeah,
You
but
know what I mean? These guys just don't think.
We actually had him on.
I
Philly
know you
fan.
did.
Yeah.
wanted to get himself noticed. Whatever.
But he was a good guy though, and that's the thing. Sometimes these guys don't think.
Yeah,
You know,
he just kind of came out and was like, yeah.
Like, and I don't want to get into this, but it's just I've talked about it way too much ad nauseum at this point. But it's you stand for it, okay? Okay, you stand for the flag. If you have other issues that go on in the world,
There's a lot of ways to go
they'll
about
handle
it.
it, okay? And for DJ Hughley, whatever
that
the
dude
frick his
turned
name
into
is,
a smackdown.
for him to compare, God damn it, for him to compare Colin Kaepernick to 2 of the most influential people of all time, one in Rosa Parks and one in Muhammad Ali, you're a flat-out fucking idiot, and you don't deserve the 3.5 million fucking people that viewed that you just brainwashed into bullshit. Because at the end of the day, you stand for the flag. When I have kids, they stand for the flag. It's bigger than everything,
Right.
okay? It gives you the freedom to say what you want. You stand for it because and people talk about, him getting paid doesn't matter. Yes, it does because he's getting paid by the United States,
Right.
Right? That's who's writing his
you
checks.
get paid in American dollars,
That's
right?
who's writing
Yeah.
his checks, right? So at the end of the day, shut up and stand. And if you have other
If
issues,
your life
race
is that
issues,
rough, go
or,
somewhere else and try to live the life you have.
or political issues, if you have them issues that you want to address them.
Yeah.
Fine.
Well,
Everybody else does.
Go out in your community and be active.
Yeah, be active.
break
Don't be
it-
a crumb.
I'll break it down to an even less social issue than that. NFL rosters right now are at, what, 75?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
What makes this jackass any more or less important than the other 74 guys on his team that are
stood.
standing
Yep.
for the national
Yep.
anthem.
It's disrespectful.
You're part of a team. You stand there with your freaking team, and you listen to the national
And you
anthem.
put your coach in trouble there because, one Chip Kelly, he can't do nothing about that.
Well, I actually put something out on Facebook yesterday that kind of got a little conversation going. I put up there, I said, honestly, people can get mad, but I'm looking at it as Kaepernick's and his agent sat back and said, I'm going to sit down for this so I guarantee a spot on this roster. Because Chip's history here in Philly, LaShawn McCoy calls him racist. If Chip Kelly cuts him, because he lost a starting job. Blaine Gabbert's starting. That's going to be their starting quarterback. And now they signed Christian Ponder. Maybe they don't want to deal with the headache of Kaepernick. But now if Chip Kelly cuts him, can cry racist again. Wow, and now he has a little more back to him with his history here in Philly. He might have just guaranteed himself a spot on the roster by doing this card.
It's a smart move if you look at it that way. Real freaking smart.
Taking a half step back to Kaepernick, right? On FDN this week, Mike Kleinkoff brought up Kaepernick as our jack-off of the week, right? And I have a confession to make. I dropped 2 F-bombs during that.
That's fine. It happens.
Attaboy.
So, and I usually don't like to do that, but it happened, and it's just because I was absolutely disgusted that the same country that gives you the freedom to have this opinion, and I read an article today that said that the third verse of the Star Spangled, that whole, and I get it. So you're entitled to think that, but you got to see that the flag and the anthem stands for way more than that. And you're paid millions of dollars to play a sport, to throw a ball across the field. Stand up.
Nobody, my age group, or going forward, or unless they're really old, right, has lived through slavery. So when you live in the past with stuff and you don't move forward in anything in life you do, any walk of life, business, relationships, everything, right? If you live in the past and regret and dwell, nothing moves forward.
Exactly,
right?
yeah.
So if we can't let something go that none of us were a part of, that's not how I was raised, right? I mean, I didn't own slaves, obviously.
Right.
I didn't look at people
I
differently.
didn't go to a separate bathroom.
I mean, so why are we? I understand to never forget, out of respect, of course, like anything major that's happened in the world, this country, or anywhere, right? The respect, and look back and say, that was a bad time. But to never let it go is what the problem is, because it's always thrown out. I'm not a guy who gets into these social issues.
Yeah, exactly.
But at the end of the day, it's real freaking talk. We're a worldwide leader, real talk.
Hey,
that's the realest talk you're going to hear.
Hey,
but
Colin,
that's simple.
Colin, what race were your parents?
Right.
Seriously.
Yeah.
I mean, his adopted parents. He was adopted by a Caucasian couple. What in the hell?
When you don't let it go, that's what keeps it
And
alive.
not for nothing.
Right?
Oh, here we go. He's starting out with the not for nothing. Go ahead.
Would he be in this position in life if he hadn't?
No.
Exactly. But nobody wants to point that out.
Nope. It's
Just Nevada for free.
It's a crumb.
Right.
It's a respect thing. But listen, back to game 3, the dress rehearse. We touched. I mean, we made it clear. But the point is, none of us lives through slavery. So my whole point to anybody listening out there and everybody listening to the Worldwide Leader Real Freaking Talk right now is that stop living in the past with it. Like, that's not how we grew up. So let's move forward as together instead of singling out, because every life freaking matters, not just one group. None of us are freaking essentially our heritage goes back to different countries anyway. So get an effing clue there, all right? And let's just move forward together. Right? There's been signs that say no Irish, no blacks, and others back in the day, right? And I don't want to hear the Irish complaining, because it's over. Let's move on.
Right. But the thing that pisses me off about this whole thing even more is you got these people that are saying, well, if he doesn't like it, because Kaepernick's talking about, I could go to Major League Baseball and be a pitcher right now. I was supposed to be a 2-sport athlete at
Major League Baseball is pretty racist.
At Nevada. But here's the thing. Number one, Major League Baseball is kind of racist. But here's the thing.
I was kidding, but not kidding.
No, but you're kidding, but not kidding, and I get it. But here's the thing. Probably half of Major League Baseball is either black, Puerto Rican, Dominican, Mexican, Cuban, or Panamanian, or from somewhere else.
Yep.
Every freaking Major League Baseball player, minor league baseball player, you name it, stands for the national anthem. You show me one black Major League Baseball player who doesn't stand for the
Usain
national
Bolt
anthem.
stood for the
That's
national
exactly what
anthem.
And it wasn't
he
even his
stopped
freaking
an
country.
interview. He stopped an interview and said, "Stop, not right now." The anthem.
And that's in Rio. Yeah, Mike,
Yeah.
that's in Rio. That's not even.
You get all these you get these Dominican guys. They don't live here. This is not their country. They work here.
That's it.
And they stand for the national anthem
Just
before
like
every damn game.
I know guys who get mad at these players for like not speaking English for some of them, and that doesn't.
No, yeah, they're
it
here to
doesn't-
do a job.
Yeah, it doesn't bother me. Like over time, like if you learn it, great. But I don't think it needs to be like back in the day. I used to think like I wish they did, but the more I look at it, like Sean just said, it's a job. You're here to do a job, and,
Right.
and,
Right,
and most of
yeah.
them go home to their country, you know, or to Miami. You know what I mean, or somewhere south. They're not living up here in the winter.
And Robbie, hockey happy hour, okay? Flyers are playing the Montreal Canadiens here in Philadelphia. What's the first national anthem that plays?
When they come out of the dressing room, Rob.
The national anthem.
Right, but which one?
Well, for the United States or no?
No,
for Canada.
they're playing Montreal.
Right, oh, in Montreal.
No,
yeah.
they're playing Montreal here.
Here.
What do you hear first?
Canadian.
Canadian national anthem.
Yeah.
Right.
Does anybody on either team that's not from Canada not stand for that?
Oh, no,
Do
absolutely.
the fans not stand for that? I mean, it's
I got wrapped up in the technical side.
My
I got
bad.
your point.
but no, I mean, it's because you're a hockey guy. I figured it immediately
No, that's
right out of the
absolutely.
chute.
And everybody shows respect to that or whatnot. I get your point.
That's all it is. It's,
Yeah.
What is it? 2 minutes of your life you're not
Yeah.
gonna get back. Like,
And you're making a stand? Like, what did you stop
and
to?
the 49ers, great. Jerry Rice even came out and said, "Kaepernick, I respect your viewpoint. Don't ever disrespect the flag, though."
And Ronnie Harrison said he wasn't black. And,
Yeah, I mean,
the
it's-
list goes on.
You're entitled to think whatever you want to think, but you have to conduct your way in a proper
Yeah.
manner.
Yeah.
I got you, man.
Rodney Harrison
Yeah.
did say that
Yeah,
today.
you don't
He didn't consider-
He
disrespect.
said
the-
Kaepernick wasn't black.
Yeah, Rodney Harrison came out and said Kaepernick's not even a black
Yeah,
man.
well, you don't disrespect the flag of your country for a political statement.
Nah, dude,
it's
no.
not 1968.
No.
You're not standing on the podium at the Olympics with a black glove on.
He's recently converted to Islam. Is something I read too.
Oh, Colin, now
Yeah, that's what's
conveniently,
something
right?
about it.
Yeah.
Freaking jackass.
Screw that.
We'll finish this up quick. We'll take a break. And I know Robbie's leaving, then we come back and finish up our Eagles talk. So we'll do that so we get at least 2 breaks tonight. Deal?
Sounds good.
We'll finish up. I mean, anything else we got to really touch on? I mean, I think we're all excited about the front seven. You got to be excited the way McLeod played. You know, because I think you know what you're going to get out of Jenkins, so you should be excited there. You know, I think when you break it down, you know, Small will look good in a couple bursts before he got his head, his bell rung. But and you look at your 3 backs and you say, okay, if you can limit Ryan Matthews, it's a good thing. If you can protect Sam Bradford, but again, we're playing the if game again. But I mean, what is Dorial Green Beckham? So I mean, there's a lot of question marks. But that's what makes it interesting because I think defensively we're going to be a damn good football team. And I think if we're top 10, which we'll touch about on the other side, if we're top 10 ranked defense, I think that equals success for us this year.
I got a bold prediction for you real quick before you
Shoot.
go to break.
We're going to break together, Mike.
Okay. Before the end
Come
of the
fly with me.
before the end of this season, there will be a DGB chant at Lincoln Financial Field, similar to the way
T.O.
Eagles fans used to serenade T.O.
I could catch 10 touchdowns, but that might be part of the more or less game coming
You
up.
saw that, though. Sam Bradford just took 1 step backwards and threw the ball in the air, and he just went 2 feet up over the defender.
And that was a great ball, too.
Yeah.
I mean, credit
That
to the
was a
ball.
real
I mean,
good ball.
Listen, okay, we can talk about more on the other side, but a little segue to the other side is there's no better offense suited for a short check down type guy and accurate like Sam Bradford, who can stretch the field. He's shown the ability to stretch the field, but that's an accurate quarterback. I think it could be successful. And maybe part of the more or less game coming up on the other side. We're brought to you by Gibson Mayer LLC every Wednesday night. GibsonMayer.com is where you can find them. This is Tom.
Mike
I am.
in the PM.
Right here on the Worldwide Leader of Real Talk. You got some of that a few minutes ago. Tom Renaud, Michael Mataraki, Sean Redden, Rob Povey on the 1s and 2s. And this segment was brought to you by BMW of Atlantic City. And this month, every month, they challenge their sales team because they're competitors. You know what I mean? They must sell 100 vehicles, which means you save. Right now, lease a certified pre-owned elite 2016 BMW 320i with xDrive, just $299 a month for 36 months. The ultimate driving experience is closer than you think. BMW Atlantic City, easy to get to. Minutes off exit 37 in the Parkway. Online, BMWAtlanticCity.com. Welcome in to the worldwide leader of what? Real Talk, A2DRadio.com.
Hey, do you need to get your skills in shape? Then contact the Scanzano Sports Center, located at 5 Carnegie Plaza in Cherry Hill, New Jersey. You can give them a call at 856-889-3434 or visit them on the web at www.scanzanosports.com. John Scanzano offers individual, semi-private, and team training lessons in hitting, pitching, catching, outfield, along with turf rentals. The Scanzano Sports Center is equipped with a 31,000 square foot indoor facility, 4 batting cages, and a 4,000 square foot strengthening and conditioning room. So what are you waiting for? Contact the Scanzano Sports Center today.
A2DRadio.com is sponsored by The Sports Outlet, located 703 Black Horse Pike in Glendora, New Jersey, with over 40 years of customer experience giving the latest in uniforms and equipment to sports enthusiasts of baseball, softball, football, basketball, hockey, soccer, and much more. Give them a call at 856-939-2030 or send them an email at sportsoutletnj@comcast.net or visit their website at www.sportsoutletinc.com for all of your sporting needs.
Hey, do you consider yourself the next Tiger Woods, Phil Mickelson, or Jordan Spieth? Well, head on out on November 5th at Valley Brook Country Club in Blackwood, New Jersey for A2DRadio.com's first ever Real Talk Invitational. $125 per person to enter, teams up to 4 members, and it includes all you can eat and drink and contests including longest drive, putting competition, closest to the pin, and the hole-in-one contest. Once again, it's November 5th at Valley Brook Country Club in Blackwood, New Jersey. The guys here at A2DRadio.com hope to see you there.
You're listening to Tom and Mike, AM in the PM, on A2DRadio.com.
I don't know which one I'm waiting for. Welcome back, Tom.
Mike,
AM.
in the PM.
Right here at A2DRadio.com. Tom Renone, Michael Madaraki, Sean Redden, Rob Povey on the ones and twos every Wednesday night. We are brought to you by Gibson Mayer, LLC, your certified public accountant. Find them on the web, gibsonmayer.com. You can even call them, too, for people who still use, their cell phones and not everything, web. If you can go to their website and obviously get their telephone number, bro. Take you a step further if you want to. 215-369-3300. That's 215-369-3300. It's Gibson Mayer, LLC. Your certified public accountant.
So, funny story. There's a pizza joint right down the street from my house that I really, really like.
Wait, you like pizza?
A little bit, yeah. Go Brooklyn pie, you know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah, good pie.
Good pie. So, their phone number is 215-396. And so the first time I'm getting ready to dial this thing off of memory. First time I, go to call them in a while, I dial Gibson Mayer. I'm like, gee, guess you can tell I'm paying attention during the show.
Hey, Jim, you think I can get a large pie, too?
Oh, it's like, thank you for calling Gibson Mayer. It's like on a Sunday afternoon. It's like, thank you for calling Gibson Mayer. You're certified public accountants. And I'm like,
that's what the other day I had to go to the sports outlet for because I play in their softball league. And I typed it in my GPS sports outlet. When the address came up, I was like, no shit.
it's in the read. Yeah. Oh, that's great. You know what? Nobody can ever accuse us of not paying attention during shows, that's for sure.
Right.
No, not at all. All right, so we started the show, Phil's Talk, Bob McClure, and our poll question brought to you by Scanzano Sports. Find them on the web, scanzanosports.com. Should the Phillies fire pitching coach Bob McClure? Simple yes or no. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube. A2D Radio is where you can find us.
In the words of Marv Albert, yes!
Well, I think that we all would, but we all believe that he's tied to the hip of Pete McCannon.
Yeah. Yep.
So McCannon's still here, McClure will still be here. We talked a little dress rehearsal, went back a little bit. We talk about it, man. It's tough. We'll talk. When game one is over and right before, we're going to talk a lot. You know what I mean? But preseason, it's just hard to it's all vanilla, boys. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, it's hard. Everything's vanilla. But what you can take out of it is when your front four gets pressure.
Now, I'm a little salty right now because literally like game 1 is on September 11th. September 12th, I leave for a business trip, and I have a feeling that the Birds are going to come out on top week 1. And I'm a little salty that I'm going to be leaving and I don't get to bask in the whole week-long euphoria of.
If they win, we might.
Oh my God, they're 1-0, and it's going to be tough.
We'll be sending you out every week if they win.
Yeah.
We'll be putting you up in a nice hotel out
Bye-bye.
of the state. Out of the state.
Hey, where are you going this week? Because you ain't got to stay here.
Our More or Less game brought to you by the Sports Outlet located in Glendora, New Jersey.
I love this
SportsOutletInc.com. So. I think we've done,
what, 3 of them?
Hey, we've done some. So I might give you guys I've already given you, but it really doesn't matter. So we'll start with one. Michael Kendricks. More or less 13 games, which is right around the number he usually likes to play.
The optimistic me is going to say over.
It's going to go more. Mr. Redden, more.
Less.
Ooh. Wow.
I'll even give you a number. 10.
10. You know what?
He misses 6 weeks.
It's sad because part of me agrees with that. But I'm going to go
When it
optimistic.
comes to injuries, I'm optimistic. Like, I got a $50 bet with this guy that Bradford plays all 16 this year.
Nice.
You're a degenerate. I like you.
Yeah, I love it. Anything and everything. Get your beak wet. There's nothing wrong with it. There's nothing wrong with it. But I'm going to be optimistic, too, for the same reason. Hopefully the guy can, be healthy for a full 16. We need him to.
Right.
So I'm going to say more. We can play the same game on the offensive side of the ball for one Mr. Ryan Matthews. Now this one.
What's your number?
11, which is a generous number to him. I think he's a little healthier than usual, maybe less carries, so we'll see.
So now are we talking like he's hurt and done or just misses a game?
We're just talking about that he plays 11 games.
How many games does he appear
Does
in?
he finish when the season's over? That's what it's more or less. Because if he's healthy, he's playing. So
can I go even?
You can go even.
I think I'm going to go
even. It's a
even.
more or less game, yeah.
11's a nice number.
Which means my numbers that are given out off the top of my head, this is why we're the best in the business. You know what I mean? Like, these numbers are not jotted. What do I have up here on the screen, boys?
Porn.
The Google,
Pornhub.com.
the Google machine.
It's Google. That's all it's up. It's a freaking Google screen. And with the search engine, which I could search stuff, I was going to search Ryan Matthews and give you, how many games he usually plays. So, Mike, what did you have? You weren't sure. Sean's even.
He's even. I'm less.
I hope we're both wrong. I
hope he's wrong about a lot right now because he's screwing up our goddamn
honestly,
winner.
Like
he talked pessimistic about Eitan Shannon.
But I mean, we're talking about guys with an injury history. I'm trying to be realistic here. I mean, Ryan Matthews. If you give me the same number for Sam Bradford, I'm probably going more.
Yeah.
I have no confidence in Ryan
Matthews. Style of play.
Yeah, I have no confidence in Ryan Matthews or Michael Kendrick staying healthy. When they're on the field, are they going to perform? Yeah, absolutely. I just don't have any confidence that they're going to stay on the field.
Well, to the 11, right, and Ryan Matthews, he's only played under 12 games one time, and that was 2014 in San Diego when he played 6. So you run down his list, it's 12, 14, 12, 16, 6, 13, which probably breaks down to, him averaging around like 12 and a half games a year. So I went a little less with 11, but who knows? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We feel like he's going to get a workload here, and he's an older guy too. So you think
and the way he runs the ball, he kind of looks for contact too. The way he runs the ball, he tries to. He's
definitely not DeMarco Murray.
No, he's not. So he played 13 last year. So you're saying less, and you're saying saying even.
I'm
you're
going
saying
a little less. Yeah.
Wow.
I probably have him in the same neighborhood as Kendricks, 10 games.
I want to go over with Ryan Matthews. I want to hope that he can get back to at least the 13 he got last year because we're going to need him to.
Yeah.
Right.
3 games, you don't want to miss him for any. But, 2 or 3 games you can mask it and get away with it.
Yeah.
But besides that, I think it's tough.
No, I think any impact of him missing games is lessened if Wendell Smallwood is actually healthy and can go.
Right.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I love Kenyon Barner, and I've hitched my wagon to that guy basically from the start of the preseason. But, they drafted Wendell Smallwood for a reason. The guy showed that, in college he's got that explosive
Led the
ability.
Big 12 in rushing.
And, if Matthews goes down, you have to feel that they want Smallwood to be the guy. He just needs to be able to stay healthy and take that job.
Yeah, be able to take the hit like he took the other night in Indianapolis and be able to, get back up.
Yeah.
Not get your bell rung like that because them kind of hits are going to come. How about this one? Jordan Hicks, but not how many games, not more or less games, more or less tackles. And I'm going to set it at 92. Because the middle linebacker playing 16, you would think runs into 100.
See, I might
But
go.
the injury concerns.
I
pop
might
into
go
this
a
question.
little less because I think a lot of times the running back isn't going to make it past the lineman.
Okay.
So I'm going to go a little less.
All right, a little less.
I'm going more.
Ooh, he's back.
Substantially more.
All right, nice.
Yeah, I'm not going last as a knock to Hicks. I'm going it as a plus to
The front
people
four.
they got to run through first.
$1.25.
Wow.
Ooh.
I was going to say $1.10, so I like where your head's at. I was going to say 110. I think that's a Pro Bowl type caliber year, which I think if he plays 16, I don't think there's an issue getting
Yeah,
it.
I think if he finished the year last year, he was running away with the Defensive Rookie of the Year.
Yeah, he was. Now, we did sack totals with Did we do sack totals with Barwin and Curry and all them guys? Did we do more or less game with that, Mike? Sean, you remember?
If you did, I wasn't here.
Yeah, we kind of got into it a little bit a couple weeks ago. I don't think we went real deep. By the way, $1.25 over 16 games if he stays healthy the whole season. It's 8 tackles a game.
Yeah, it's not.
It's not a huge number.
It's not crazy. Let's go Dorial Green Beckham, more or less. 7.5 touchdowns.
I'll go over.
Over. Yeah. They will be singing songs of him. The next T.O.
I mean, yeah, he's going to be the red zone guy.
I'll go over. I think he should walk into 8. He should. So I'll go over. I'll go over on that one.
Now, the problem that I have with that situation, though, is out of the wide receivers, I mean, Jordan Matthews is fantastic, but do we have, he's not a touchdown maker. Do we have another wide receiver capable of getting in the end zone? I don't know. DGB might be the only real red zone option they have in terms of a wide receiver.
Which takes me to my next wide receiver. One missing Nelson.
You like how we did that?
More or less, 45 catches.
Again, optimistic me is going to say over.
Nothing wrong with that.
Because I think he's going to be your number 2.
Guys have gotten cut because it looks like he's going to be your 2.
And I think he had 37 last year. So I think he's going to get over 45.
3 catches a game over a full season is 48. I think he probably does a little more than 3 catches, so I'm going over.
Yeah, sometimes you throw, you throw a cookie, but he's been getting knocked around here, taking a lot of heat. So I base his number low because of that.
I could see him being a guy who.
Then it's good to switch us to some positivity. You know what I mean?
I could see.
Where we say, "Hey, over for Nelson." No,
Yeah, I could see him being a guy week in and week out who's like 5 for 65.
Yeah, listen, I think that's who he can be.
I would say at this point, what we've seen from him, I'll take 5 or 65.
I'll go more. I think he has a better year. It's not translating in preseason, but again, when the lights turn on in the regular season, with Beckham, with Matthews healthy, and with Ertz on the field, where there's more space, he needs to be a player, or at least third down type receiver.
Well, yeah, I think we're all in agreement that there's not a wide receiver on this roster who's going to be an 8 for 110 and a touchdown every week type of guy.
No, but there's guys that you would hope that can rotate through that.
Yeah.
Where you can get, 8 for 110 out of Beckham one week, 8 for 110 out of Aguilar one week, 8 for 110 out of Matthews, 8 for 110 out of Ertz. That's how you have to do it.
And
Right.
if Game 3 was anything that we saw of like what they're going to run offense-wise, Doug Peterson's getting creative and trying to get the ball into Josh Huff's hands. And that's a guy. That's a guy that can make plays though in the open field.
He's not a wide receiver.
And with the end arounds and the quick hits, that's going to be a guy I think is going to contribute this
Sean,
year.
that's a great point. I was talking about that Sunday on Agree Disagree, and we all hated him. But to your point, Doug Peterson's using Josh Huff in, Tavon Austin type roles where these guys aren't wide receivers. I get it, Tavon Austin played wide receiver in college. I get it. So did Josh Huff. But
$42 million too.
Neither one of them are wide outs. They're niche guys. They're end around guys.
Specialists,
they're bubble screen guys. Kick return guys.
They're what you call offensive players.
Josh Huff's a great 4 or 5 on a football team.
Flex.
Right? You understand? You're right. He's a great 4 or 5 to have on a football team.
Right.
Because he can make a play. He can break one. So, I don't have a major issue with him. He's taking a lot of heat because he's Oregon guy, Chip Kelly, and he's had fumbling issues. So he's got
that's my biggest beef with him is the fumbling
it's
issue.
the issues. But let's go. We went Aguilar. I want to go Zach Ertz. More or less 80 catches.
More. He's going to go off this year.
A guy who's inconsistent at times, disappears at times. That's why I think he has a talent to go 90. He has a talent to snag 100. I don't know if he's that guy.
See, Tommy, this is a real tough question because
he's more of an 85 guy to me.
Because they're going to go with a lot of 3 tight end sets. But the flip side of that is when they're going to when they go to the 3 tight end sets, that one of the things that the defense is going to do is they're going to roll their best cover guy to Ertz. Because he's obviously the best pass catcher out of the 3 tight ends. I'm going to go under, not because it's a question of Ertz's ability. I just feel like he's going to get a lot more attention from the defense this year.
Good. I got 3 more for you. We'll run through them quick.
All right.
Right, we both no, we didn't even go. More or less. Ertz.
Oh, no, I said way
more. You said
more.
more. Yeah, he said way more.
He's way more. I think he's more talented than Travis Kelce is. And I think the fact that Kelce was able to put up numbers he did with nobody other. I mean, he had Jeremy Maclin last year, but he had nobody on the outside the first couple years he put up numbers.
Yeah, and he has.
And I think Ertz is going to eat this year.
Yeah, but here's the thing. How many times has a defense against Kansas City tried to put 8 or 9 in the box to stop Jamal Charles? And Travis Kelce just runs up the seam for 15 yards. I mean, you got to look at the weapons around him.
Yeah.
No, very true. But still, I think Ertz goes more. I got him around 85.
And God bless you if he does. Like I'm not an Ertz hater by any means. In fact, I'm a huge Ertz fan. I just think he's not going to be a surprise this year.
He's inconsistent, Mike.
He is inconsistent.
And that's the big key with the whole crew of guys on the outside. Because I consider him more of a hybrid. You know what I mean? I don't consider him a true tight end, and I don't consider him a wideout. I consider him more of a guy who can do a little bit of both. And he's a matchup problem.
And I think Trey Burton is basically the same person Zach Ertz, same player Zach Ertz is.
Not as talented.
Slightly less talented, yeah.
Completely agree. Let's go Bradford, and I'm going to give you 2 defensive guys, maybe 3, because these are quick. Bradford, touchdowns. Because I did passing yards on Agree Disagree, I think. So I'm going to switch. I'm going to go touchdowns. More or less 23.
I'll go more because when I would have him at around 25.
Agreed. More. I'm in that same neighborhood, 24, 25, 26.
Yeah, I mean, I can't go anywhere.
I think 23 is just a tick low.
Yeah, I can't go anywhere higher
right.
with any conscience at all. I'd have no conscience if I went like, hey, Sam Bradford, more or less 27. Like somebody should put a freaking bullet in my head. I'm talking sports place because you're a freaking moron. But you said it loud, but you said it at a decent number because if he's healthy, he should cross 23.
Well, I think,
right?
Right.
I mean, it shouldn't even be an issue.
But I think it's going to be a 25 touchdown, but with a low interception ratio.
Well, and that's what I was just going to say is you could get away with him throwing, 18, 19, 20 touchdowns if he's only throwing 5 or 6 interceptions on the season.
To your guys' point real quick, if he throws 25 and he throws like 8 picks, he's your starter next year.
Penciled it out.
Write it down. Right, you got a journal? You got a piece of paper in front of you? Put it in your notes in the goddamn phone.
How do we need a journal for? We're on the freaking radio.
Well, that's why I like to say journal. I like that phrase. You got a journal? Put it in your goddamn journal. Because that's a guarantee. It's a stone cold lock if he goes 25 and 8 because that's big time. That's big time.
Or
25
or
and less.
Or does that bump his trade value up?
Or does that mean a second-round pick?
Maybe a first.
Could be.
Listen, the way this works out here in some weird way, and I always talk about how I was talking about the one show, the curse. Are we cursed by Reggie or whoever? Were we cursed? Well, them kind of things end in weird ways. Like we talk about the Red Sox 3-0. Like it would end with a guy. We have no shot. You understand this? Let me clarify this. But if it did happen, it would happen.
With Brad.
It would happen with a guy like Bradford.
With a guy that nobody wants here.
Like I said it when Sanchez started Chip's second year. When Sanchez played, I said the same thing. It would happen with a guy like Mark Sanchez. A guy that we don't think can do it. But to the point, if Bradford's healthy, this team's in contention in the NFC.
If you ask me to make a prediction on
if he
his
plays
numbers,
16, they're in contention.
I have him down as 25 touchdowns, 7 interceptions.
Which, depending on passing yards, is borderline Pro Bowl.
I would say 3,300. Because he was around there last year, and he was throwing 5-yard passes at a time.
I'm just saying that ratio is big time. Like, that doesn't happen too often where you get a guy throw 25 and less
This
than
whole
10.
scenario is great, but I'll give you the more important number to look at. The number is 10.
Games played?
No, if he goes into double figures on interceptions, they're screwed. Bottom line.
Oh, we can't turn the football over. But I think this offense is built, if you remember with 5, and 5 will
To
always
take
love us.
care of the ball.
Is take care of the football.
Mm-hmm.
It's not an offense where there's shots taken in the right spots. And I think that's how the West Coast offense has always been built.
And the defense is going to keep you in games.
Yes,
this
it's
year.
built. It's built for the 3, 4, 5-yard passes on first down, which are just like running plays, like Andy used to say all the time. I mean, listen, this is like going to Thanksgiving dinner because you know what you're getting. You know what I mean? Like you go to the same place every year. You know what's on the menu. I mean, nobody's lying to you. And it's the same thing here with Doug. Nobody's here to lie to you. The same thing's on the menu that Andy brought. Andy ate the whole menu.
Doug,
you know that.
Doug
but
might be
same
lying.
things on the menu.
Doug might be lying to his wife, but he ain't lying to us.
No,
Right.
no. It's the only. He lies to her, not to us. But it's truth, though. I mean, you know what we're getting. You know how this offense is built. This is nice for us because when we talk in Eagles football, we know what we're talking about essentially. Because Chip came in here and I loved it, and I'm still a believer of Chip Kelly in that offense. I think it can work in this league.
I agree.
Right? I truly believe it. I think he was a scapegoat here for a lot of different reasons. Right? And we know why. And that's an argument for another day again when we can look back and enjoy it one day. Right? And so, like a Chip Kelly's error led us to something better. Whatever. Okay? But we know what we're getting out of Doug. We know what we're getting out of this offense. And it's taking care of the football is a big factor. And why is Kansas City successful? They have a top 10 defense year in, year out. And Alex Smith take care of the football.
Yep.
And they win football games. Right, in a tough division that it was for years. When Andy got there, they were always in contention in that division or always gave teams headaches even when they didn't make the playoffs.
You know what this is, in all honesty? With this offense and the defensive philosophy that they have right now, this is like finding a pair of old comfy sweatpants that you put in some drawer somewhere and forgot about for 3 years. And now all of a sudden you're putting it back on, and it still fits, and it's still nice and comfy, and you just
Still hasn't won you anything, but it still fits.
You're just hoping like the crotch doesn't rip out of them before you take it to the house.
3 names, real quick. And we'll go over under sacks. I want to give you Vinny Carey, over under 9 or more or less. Damn it, not over under, more or less 9. Vinny Carey,
Less.
More.
I think he gets 10. Brandon Graham, more or less 10.
More.
Less.
I think he gets 11. Marcus Smith, more or less 6.
Less.
Less.
I just don't think he'll be on the field enough.
More.
I was actually going to say the same thing.
I disagree completely.
It's less, but I think it's because
disagree with you guys completely.
I think it's because they're going to be using him situationally, and I just don't think he's going to get as many opportunities.
I think he walks in the 6. I think he gets the 6. I don't think
if he does, God bless him.
So,
Absolutely.
like, one reason I was a little high on Marcus Smith this year is because I honestly thought he was a better pass rusher than Connor Barwin. And when they came back to this day, I thought Barwin was like the odd man out.
As did I.
Couldn't really play linebacker, couldn't really play DN. But he showed this preseason that he's going to be all over.
Oh, Connor Barwin, you're not concerned with now at all.
Yeah.
But, I mean, you guys got to look at something. What you've seen out of Marcus Smith in this preseason is I think we can all agree, and I'm not like overly praising the guy, but I think that we can all agree it looks like he can get after the quarterback a little bit. He's got speed. He's gotten pressure on the quarterback. He caused some, bad passes when he was in there. He was close to a sack. He made the quarterback step up. So you see that, and, maybe the number's a little high. Maybe it should be more like 4 because there's no, sample size to go off of. But,
I just look at it. You got Barwin, you got Graham, and you got Curry. Whose spot's he going to take for a significant amount of time?
Well, he's not, but that's why the number's low. Because, if you run in the 5 through a 16-game season, it's not a lot.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, and we could get into this more when we go.
Harry's would be a better question.
I think if he gets 3, this fan base is going to be off his back.
Oh, and I completely agree with that. But we can get into this a little more when
You're a stone cold liar, Mr. Redden. 'Cause we don't ever get off anybody's backs.
Yeah.
We get on them more.
I will get into this more when we go through the 53. But I think one of the reasons that I went under on Marcus Smith, and I know this is not very popular, but I could actually see him as the 5th defensive end in the rotation because I think he's going to have to spend a little time at linebacker.
Maybe. I mean, it could happen.
Because I think they have to go light, or at least a little lighter than they would like at defensive line and linebacker to account for the number of offensive linemen they're going to need. What do you got, Sean?
Just to your point, Rogue, from the Earth Talk earlier, Red Sox just called up Mikado.
Did they really?
Yep.
Oh, there you go.
Look at that.
Done and done there. And they're not scared. This is what I'm talking about organizations that aren't scared.
Is he getting a September 1st call up, or are they actually bringing him up today so he's eligible for postseason?
It just says Red Sox call up infielder Yohan Mikado from AA on Friday.
Yep.
Oh, they're going to call him up Friday.
All right, so
it's going to be September.
So he's not eligible for postseason unless somebody goes on the DL.
Interesting. Well, they could always.
If he comes up and rakes, though.
Somebody will be on the DL.
Yeah.
You could write that down.
Yeah.
They'll find somebody.
See ya, Brock Holt.
Yeah, there'll be no wet floor sign somewhere where somebody's slipping. But listen, to take it right into the 53-man roster, like we're going to go to right now before we wrap up tonight, and that is brought to you by the Sports Outlet for all your sporting needs. Glendora, New Jersey. Find them on the web, sportsoutletinc.com. We'll break down, and what we'll do is we'll just start a quarterback, and we'll just run through it. So
I got my handy dandy spreadsheet here. So you want me to just kind of like run through names, and if there's any name that you guys disagree with, or you have somebody else that you want to slot in, just kind of throw it in there, and we'll go.
I mean, I had the same thing. Yeah. But
all right. So obviously, quarterbacks Bradford, Daniel, and Wentz, and for me, I have running backs. I have Matthews, Barner, Smallwood, Sproles, and then I have Byron Marshall as a running back / wide receiver.
I don't.
Okay.
Yeah, I have Marshall being cut, but
practice squad.
I have him on practice squad right now, but I have a little theory with that.
Okay.
I think if Smallwood's concussion is kind of significant and he's going to miss a little time, I think they IR him for this season, and then Marshall makes his team.
That's a good one.
That's a good one, too.
Good possibility,
And I actually, I'll take that out one step further, is I think the reason that they re-signed Cedric O'Neal last week is I think they're targeting him for the practice squad, or he's insurance that if somebody else signs Byron Marshall, at least they're not stuck without a running back on the practice squad.
Yep.
All right, tight ends. I'm going Selleck, Ertz, and then I have Trey Burton as your tight end / fullback. And I only have 3 there. Chris Panettone is going to be the
I don't
casualty
think he makes
here.
that team. Yeah, I don't think he makes the team.
You don't think so?
Nah, I got 3.
I mean, it's tough. He could be the last guy cut, honestly, because he has been pretty impressive, and I know the coaches love him.
I thought he makes the team.
Okay.
I thought they carry 4 and use him in a little bit of fullback role at times.
It's highly
which I don't love.
It's highly possible, but again, it comes down to, for me, it's the offensive line situation.
I had them carrying 5 receivers.
Well, let's go through that. I mean, I have Matthews, Green Beckham, Aguilar, Paul Turner, and Josh Huff.
That's the same 5 I have, but I also don't think week 1 Paul Turner's here. I think somebody's going to get cut from somewhere else, and I think they're going to go with a veteran that gets cut rather than Paul Turner.
Could be. I have the same guys, though. Matthews, Aguilar, Beckham, Turner, Huff.
I think a guy from Carolina, Philly Brown, I don't think he's going to make Carolina's roster.
It's possible. I don't. The thing is, though, if Paul Turner does wind up getting cut for somebody like a Philly Brown, they don't sneak him onto the practice squad.
Oh, no, somebody's going to pick him up.
Somebody signs him immediately.
Oh, yeah.
All right, so this is where it gets a little dicey on my roster because I went no less than 10 offensive
I
linemen.
went 9 without
I
Johnson.
got
And
10 linemen too.
It's a big
But
number.
yeah, but I have Johnson on mine.
I don't have Johnson on mine, so I think he plays this year, like we talked about. But the way I did it, that's why Pantel made it.
Okay.
Now, if Johnson doesn't get suspended, that's when Pantel's out to me.
Okay.
So that's that little
All right, because
adjustment there.
I'm actually counting Lane Johnson against.
That's the only difference. So
All
there's
right.
you see where my difference with you
All
guys
right,
is.
so I'm going Peters,
Yup.
Barbray,
Yes.
Kelsey, Brooks,
Yup.
and then I have Lane Johnson penciled in at that starting left tackle or starting right tackle spot.
Okay.
Okay, and then backing up, I have Tobin,
Yes.
Wisniewski,
Yup.
Samalo,
Yup.
Vaitai,
Yup.
and Dylan Gordon.
I'm right with you.
Nice.
Right with you. And then Lane Johnson's my guy who's most likely
And if Johnson
maybe suspended. We
If
can
Johnson
use
winds up getting suspended and he doesn't count against the roster, then you're bringing back Pantel.
Yup, that's where he makes it.
All right.
See,
cool.
I got Josh Andrews
Ooh.
making the roster
Over
and then over
Dylan Gordon?
over Dylan Gordon. But then I also think if Lane Johnson don't count, then I think you're going to see Darrell Green here over Dylan Gordon only because he's the only undrafted rookie this year out of the linemen that the Eagles gave guaranteed money to.
Ooh.
Interesting.
Yep.
Very interesting. Kicker Sturgis.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think,
I
it's
think
gotta be
he's won that job hands
And that
down.
sucks
Shockingly.
too because I wanted Perky to win that.
Yeah, shockingly.
Parky.
Yeah, he's been
Yeah,
perky.
and then obviously Doran Boss, Mr. Magician
Magic
himself.
Man.
I like it.
Let's keep moving on.
All right, so defensive line, you're going Brandon Graham, Fletcher Cox, Benny Logan, Connor Barwin.
Brandon Grant, Connor Barwin, Vinny Carey, Fletcher Cox. Yeah.
Right, and then backing up on the interior, you're going Bo Allen and Taylor Hart.
Yeah.
And then my two backup defensive ends, I'm going Vinny Curry and Steven Means. And then I have Marcus Smith as a swing D-end outside linebacker.
Now, do you have Brayman on the roster?
I do. That's coming up,
Okay.
though. So,
Yeah, I got Means making the roster as well.
Me too.
okay. Anybody that you have that I didn't mention? No. Okay, cool. So linebackers, we're going Bradham, Hicks, and Kendricks, Tulloch, Najee Good, and I have Brian
As a
Brayman making it
linebacker,
as a
okay.
linebacker
Yeah, me too.
for the special teams.
I do too, because
All right.
I thought that's where they thought he can play too.
Okay, now this is where it gets interesting. Now, depending upon where you sit, quite honestly, I understand the whole C.J. Smith factor, and everyone loves him. I don't have him on my final 53. I'm going at my corners. I'm going McKelvin, Carroll, Brooks, and Mills. My safeties, I'm going McLeod, Jenkins, Jalen Watkins, and I have Chris Maragos making it for the special teams play. And then I have Eric Rowe as your swing corner safety.
See, I got C.J. Smith on this team. He got first team reps the other night.
Who's he making the team over?
Ja'Cory Shepard.
I don't have Ja'Cory
See,
Shepard.
I got them keeping
I don't have
six.
Ja'Cory Shepard
I
on
got
there
them
either.
keeping 6 corners.
Okay.
I got McKelvin, Carroll, Brooks, Rowe, Mills, and Smith. That's my 6 corners you're keeping.
So where are you going light?
Light, I'm going strong or safety, I guess you would say, because I'm only keeping Jenkins, McLeod, Maragos, and Watkins. Or is that everyone you listed?
That's
That's
everyone I've
everyone, yeah.
listed too.
That's all 4.
Are you going light on the offensive line maybe?
No, because he went heavy there.
Yeah, I went 10.
Did you count Donnie Jones? You forgot your punter.
I might have forgot the punter.
Nice. Yeah, last guy on the roster, Donnie Jones, your punter.
Happens.
It happens.
Yeah, I don't think Ja'Cory Shepard makes it.
I don't think Ja'Cory Shepard
and I
makes
think
it either.
it's a toss-up right now between C.J. Smith and Jalen Mills. I mean,
see,
it's a toss-up between
I
them
disagree
two.
with that. I think it would be a toss-up between C.J. Smith and Eric Rowe.
I did.
And I think
no.
what's keeping Rowe on this team is the fact that he plays safety.
Yeah, I don't think there's any, like we talked about, I don't think there's any chance Rowe doesn't make this team.
I know. I know
Yeah.
you don't think so, but I mean,
It's just
to
not.
Sean's point, the guy got. I mean, C.J. Smith got first-team reps. Eric Rowe barely played,
Well, maybe that's
which sucks.
No, maybe that's a sign to see what C.J. Smith can do against one to see if he deserves to make the team.
That's a
and
good
he
point.
didn't show off that night by doing anything spectacular. He
True.
gave up catches, fine. He tackled, fine. But you
No,
know,
I don't have him on my roster. So
no, I don't either. But I have Mills on it. But I think it's a complete toss up between them two on which one makes it. And I think it's going to come down to who performs better in the game 4.
They're probably both going to start.
Yup, and it's who shows up because Mills has struggled and C.J. Smith has been okay.
What would be crazy?
Both have been good in practice, but
See,
again,
Mills is a guy I don't want to see cut, though.
What would be crazy is if
but you can only keep so many.
Yeah,
Right.
what would be crazy to me is if after all the talk, they drop Maragos and they move Rowe to safety so that they could keep Mills and C.J. Smith. It's a possibility.
Yeah, but they're not going to give up the special teams.
Yeah, but I
factor.
think Maragos is too good of a special
So
teams
do I.
player.
And Jalen Watkins won his job this preseason.
Oh, yeah,
because
hands down.
listen, at the end
Played
of the
his
day,
ass off.
you talk about coaches putting you in position to succeed, and I know it's preseason, but moving him to safety, where I never thought he has good speed. He showed now that he has no problem coming up from the box and hitting you, which I like to see out of safeties.
Well, that was
and it made me a lot more comfortable with how deep our safety position
And
is.
that was the
Yeah.
crazy.
You know, I'm
that
a little more like, okay, yeah, okay.
No, that was the crazy thing, though. I mean,
Nick Jules isn't happy with me because I don't like white safeties. I'm just not a fan.
But
he
it was-
loves Harrison
you
Smith.
know, it was-
Harrison Smith's the only one. He's a stud, but there's no other ones.
But Watkins, I mean, the first time Watkins was here, I mean, that was always the question about him was, you know, he had the speed. He was a good cover corner, but could he be physical enough? So he leaves. He goes and signs with Buffalo. You know, he improves his cover skills by lining up across from his half-brother,
Yup.
you know, for practice every day. But then all of a sudden, they start rolling him at safety a little bit as well. He learns both positions. He comes back here as a safety, and now all of a sudden you got a player.
And also he's
Right.
making a football team.
Yeah,
You
I
know?
like it. Good for him.
Yeah, and full circle too, what you talked about. You know, what you mentioned. Came full circle. Got released. Blah blah blah. We know the story and came back.
It's
Interesting. He
it
came
is
back under
interesting.
a different regime
Yeah.
too. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like a different regime has him here, which says that we know how he was calling the shots, but it just shows you how he was calling the shots, maybe the whole time.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's the Ja'Cory Shepard situation is tough because obviously, I think the guy has a lot more talent than he's shown. I think the injury.
He was the rage at camp last year.
He's another one of those guys that, you know, a year and a half back from the injury, he's going to show a lot more than he is right now. It's a shame that they can't somehow IR him and just sneak him through.
Yeah, but you know what? You know what the thing is, Mike, and this is the problem we have is that we fall in love with these camp guys. You know, and a lot of Eccles said when he was on with us too, and we all knew this already, but you know, there's a difference when the lights turns on. And when we saw it right after that night was Jalen Mills started, played, and didn't play well. It didn't play well at all, but was having a great camp. So, you know, I look at a guy like Trey Burton who goes unnoticed at camp, but then when the lights turn on, he's catching passes.
Yeah.
You know, they're the guys I look at that nobody talks about during camp that step up and make plays. You know, nobody's talking about Rodney McLeod at camp. He's out making plays on the football field. You know, when the lights turn on. We know he's a good player. But, you know, there's a lot of guys you don't hear about at camp. But you hear about the Paul Turners of the world and these other guys because they're new and they're fighting to make a football team.
Yeah, but at least with Paul Turner, it's translated. It's
plays,
translated to game situation.
No, I know. But again, you know what I'm saying is we can't overvaluate what the guy is. You know, he's a fifth
and
wide
honestly,
receiver.
Mills,
you know what I mean? Like he's not
Mills'
starting
job,
anywhere.
Right.
And Mills' job and C.J. Smith's jobs might even be even more on the line if Aaron Grimes never got hurt. That's a guy who was making plays in the preseason, had a one-handed interception falling down against the Steelers.
Well, you need Eric Rowe to step up. I mean, Eric Rowe's here. He's getting guaranteed money. He's going to be here. You know, they're not going to throw away guaranteed money. It's not this. It's just good organizations don't do that year two into a kid's career. It's just not smart. You know, just like with Marcus Smith, you get rid of him when the contract's over if he doesn't perform. That's simple.
Yeah, well,
you know what I mean? You don't overreact now and cut. You see, hey, does he fit in Jim Schwartz's defense? And we talked about with Jake Thompson and other arms, right? See it for a sample size.
Right.
You know, you need a sample size. So
going back to your Paul Turner point for a second, though, if you want to take your Green, Beckham, Matthews, and Aguilar and say that those are your top three, no question about it, and you have your Paul Turner and your Josh Huff that are your 4 and 5, and whether one's 4, one's 5, or flip them, I don't think it matters.
No.
Because I think they're different types of players, and they're going to use them in different types of situations.
I agree.
I think the thing that I like the most about Paul Turner right now, though, is he's shown enough that, yes, he's going to make the team, but I think he's shown enough that quite honestly, if Nelson Aguilar is not getting it done, Paul Turner's going to get more playing time. Mm-hmm. And if DGB goes completely against what I'm hoping to see and becomes the guy that he was in Tennessee, Paul Turner's going to get more playing time. You know, he's a guy, and the name that I keep coming back to with him is a local product out of Villanova, Brian Finneran, who, you know, he started out with the Eagles. He made the team out of camp, got caught as a victim of the numbers game, and went to Atlanta and wound up playing 8 years in the NFL. I actually see Paul Turner as a little bit more of an athletic Brian Finneran. Same type of, you know, scenario where, you know, he's coming in as a virtual unknown, but he's going to make the team, and the more he plays, the better he's going to be.
I agree. I mean, I think he can be an asset. He can be a third down guy. I mean, listen, we need guys who can catch the football here.
Exactly.
I think that's
So
what we've
he's got
learned
better
here.
hands than some of the slop they threw out there last year.
Let's go more,
yeah.
and we're going to do more and less as we go on here, you know, until the season starts. More or less win total here.
Ah,
All right, but real quick, something about Ryan Matthews, because I just had his numbers still up here. If you went back to 2013, where he played, you know, 16 for the Chargers, and he had 285 rushing attempts, you know, 1,255 yards, 4.4 yards a carry, 6 TDs, you know, it's solid. I think he caught 26 balls, whatever. He didn't catch a ton of balls, but if you had that production, I think that's what we need when we talk about it, or more or less,
Yeah,
or
when
if we
he's
have
healthy,
them winning the
when
division.
he's healthy, he puts up numbers.
let me ask you guys a question. Just in terms of your average, like, yards per carry,
Yep.
like, we talk about a pitcher that has to have like a 4 ERA or less. What is the magic number that you're looking for in terms of a yards per carry out of a solid running back?
3.5.
3.5, 4.
Because I think 3.5 gets you. It's a first down.
Interesting.
I say 4. I think 4 looks better. I think 3.5.
And if you look at Ryan Matthews, the past years, he's averaged, I don't know the exact numbers, but I was listening to it earlier, and one of the reporters was putting it out there. He hasn't averaged under 4.
under 3.8.
3.8. And even last year, in limited, we played 13 games, right? Last year, averaged 5.
5.1 and with only 106 attempts.
Let's see, now for me,
But his career, real quick, is
Go ahead.
4.5 yards a carry.
See,
And I think 4 is what you need. I think really good backs are going to get you 4.5.
See, I'm actually a little higher than that, because what I'm looking at in today's NFL, I think you got to be at 4.8. Basically, you're looking at like 4.75. I think you need a top-line running back to be able to go 20 for 100. 20 for 90, 20 for 100.
No, I agree.
So if you're 20 for 90, you're basically 4.5. 5 yards would be 20 for 100. That's probably a little high. But if you want you want a guy right around that 4.7, 4.8, going 20 for 95, and if he breaks one, he's going 20 for 110, something like that.
it all depends on the style of runner, too. You know what I mean? There's
just
ground and pound guys that you want the 4, and then there's other guys who have breakaway speed that can take
wanna
one
stretch
60
it out.
yards,
Yeah.
and then their yards per carry go up. So that's why I say 4 to 4.5. To your point, I agree with you. Some guys, I need the 4.5, 4.8 type numbers, and other guys that are more like pounded guys, like an Eddie Lacy, right? And Eddie Lacy's a guy I want 4 out of. He's not a speed guy. He's not going to break him for 60. So you're not going to get his average go up. So he's going to be more of a 4 guy. So it really just depends on the back. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
I
agree with
think
you.
right now, in today's NFL, like, the offenses are a lot more spread.
Well, to your
And
point, Ryan,
you've seen a lot more 3 and 4 wide. And I
Yep.
think when you're spreading the defense that much, you got to be able to get at least 5 out of those
well,
carries.
I'm giving you good running back. So, if you got 4.5 out of Ryan Matthews this year or the 5, you're in good shape.
Oh, yeah.
Right? So, more or less wins. And I'll set the number at 9. Actually, I'll set it at 8.5, so you have 9 to play with.
More.
No, I'm going more.
I'm going more,
Because
too. Oh.
all these people saying 6 and 10. Well, our defense, let alone, is 6 wins, in my opinion.
If they're a top 10 defense.
And then if Bradford's healthy, you can get Ryan Matthews. This is saying we're playing the if game. But if Bradford plays to where I think he can play, and if Ryan Matthews is healthy and gives you something, DGB is what everyone thinks he can be, and then you just get a smidgen of what Aguilar is supposed to be, something out of Josh Huff, this team's going to you're going to be right there in the thick of things with
Now,
the
see,
division.
it's interesting because I don't disagree with any of that, but I'm on sort of like my slow burn. Like I mean, before we even started talking about this stuff in depth, I mean, if you go back to like mini camps or whatever, I was like 6-10, 7-9. You know, I came up to 8-8. Now I'm probably sitting at 9-7. If they go 2-0 right out of the gate,
Which is a very good
very
Browns
good
and Bears.
possibility. If they go 2-0 out of the gate, I could go to 10-6.
And you're getting a Le'Veon Bell list Steelers week 3.
Yeah, I don't think they're going any less than 10-6 or any more than 10-6. But if they start out 2-0, or like you said, you know, you get the Steelers, no Le'Veon Bell. I mean, D'Angelo Williams is no slouch. He proved that last year. That's going to be a great matchup of a great offense against what could very well at that point be a great defense.
Well, there's 3 teams that scare you on
but
the schedule.
If they go 2-0, I go to 10-6. If they go 3-0, I think I'm still at 10-6, but I'm a lot more confident about that 10-6.
There's 3 teams on the schedule that scare you: the Steelers, Seahawks, Packers. Obviously, you play 8 divisional games. Your divisional teams don't scare you. Essentially, they're winnable games.
Yeah.
So that's where I get the more in the 10 at, right? You know, where I'm setting
If
at
you can
10.
steal one.
Because, yeah, you know, you go steal one of them 3, right? You know what I mean?
You know what?
Because even you got the Bengals.
I was going to say I put the Bengals in there too.
Who's
Yeah,
Andy
you know, I
Dalton
forgot about-
throwing to, though,
yeah.
besides A.J. Green?
I forgot that you have the Bengals, but guess what? If you go 2-2 and you steal 2 of them games, which are stealable, because you don't know what goes on. Does Dalton get hurt, right? I mean, so many things can happen. Is Rodgers down? Well, they're not good then. So, I mean,
Well, that's what I was thinking
so many
about.
issues that can go on throughout the course of the season. It's tough to say. And then you're going to get teams that are better than you thought they were.
Right.
You know, like,
Yep.
you know, I don't think the Cowboys, but it's hypothetically. Maybe the Cowboys are better than we
Maybe
think they
Dak
are.
Prescott is for real.
Yeah, you know,
Yeah.
maybe Kirk Cousins takes a step backwards and Washington's not as good. So all these things are going to happen. But I think if you have a good defense, which I think we have the best defense in this division, even though the Giants went out and spent some money.
I don't think you can buy a defense.
Yeah, you can't.
Okay, and I think we have the best overall defense in the division. I think that wins you the division. I think that's a good start to winning you the division and getting you 10 wins. So
And the Eagles got dealt a great hand. They're playing Cleveland week 1, no Josh Gordon. They're playing the Steelers week 3, no Le'Veon Bell. And they also had the Vikings on the schedule now, no Teddy Bridgewater.
that's a huge one. I mean, that's a team that I go into
like,
the
that's
NFC
a game.
Championship game.
That's a game that I said loss.
Loss.
But now I'm like, with Sean Hill playing quarterback, how the hell do you lose it?
Well, we've seen
Well,
that happen here.
Yeah,
Joe
Hold on.
Webb.
right?
Let's
Yeah,
play.
Joe
Let's play
freaking-
this game then.
Yeah, we got 3 minutes. So
All right,
let's play.
hold on a second. Damn it! I wish I wouldn't have closed out of that. My bad.
Things happen. But, yeah, I mean, that's the point, though, Sean.
Yep.
I mean, you look at Minnesota, 2 days ago, and that's a tough game on the schedule. But I'm talking about really fearful games that there's
Yeah, you got the Packers, Seahawks,
you,
and
you,
Steelers.
you could say the Bengals. I mean, I think they're one of the most talented rosters in all the league, if not the most talented, but they don't scare me.
Exactly.
So I look at fearful, like Pittsburgh, like, can you stop them? Offensively, that's scary. I look at
who's
Seattle,
running? Yep.
and I look defensively, scary. Russell Wilson makes plays, which can be scary. I look Green Bay, and I say Rodgers is flat out scary.
All right, gentlemen.
So that's where I get that from.
Real quick. Browns win.
Win.
Bears win.
Win.
Steelers
I'll say loss.
I'll go out there.
gonna win.
Nice.
At Lions.
Win.
Tommy,
Make up for last year. We're going to win.
I'm going loss.
All right.
At Redskins.
At Redskins, loss.
I'll go loss there.
Loss. Vikings home.
Win.
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 At Cowboys on Sunday night.
Win.
Win. At Giants.
Loss on that one.
Yeah, I'm going to go loss.
Loss. Falcons home.
Win.
Win.
Win. At Seattle.
Loss.
Loss. Green Bay home.
Loss.
That's a win.
I got it as a loss.
I think their defense stinks.
At Bengals.
Win.
See, at Bengals is where I go L.
All right, I'm going W there.
See, that's where we switch up.
Okay. Redskins home.
Win.
Win. At Ravens.
Win.
Win.
They
Win.
stink.
Giants home.
Win.
Win.
A little run.
Cowboys home.
Win.
I got a loss.
Well, I don't know where we're at right
That's
now.
I think
11
they- I
and
think-
5
I think
for me.
they split.
That's 11-5 for me.
And I would be 11-5 right away, I think.
See, I'm at 10-6.
I'll go win. Whatever.
I think they sweep Dallas.
I think they sweep Dallas.
Split Giants and Redskins.
Split Giants and Redskins, yeah.
See, I think they split Redskins and Cowboys sweep Giants.
Wow. Well, listen.
Good shit.
It's been real, boys.
Absolutely.
A pleasure. It's been, well, first off, Tom Arnone, Michael Madaraki, Sean Redden. For Tom,
Mike,
AM.
in the PM.
World Right Leader, Real Talk, HUDRadio.com. Thank you, everyone, for listening. Thank you, Gibson Mayer, LLC, your certified public accountant. Find them on the web, GibsonMayer.com, and BMW Atlantic City. Find them on the web, BMW of Atlantic City.com. See you,
Peace.
boys, next week. Later.